You are live.
Yes, we are.
Okay. So does it look live on your end?
You're good.
Okay, cool. Yay. First live of Fear the Talking Heads. Hello, everyone. If you can hear me, can you write something in the chat?
Yeah, there's a couple things in the chat right there.
Now, these are from earlier.
You know what? I'll write something right now.
Okay, yeah, you write something.
Okay. There.
See it pop up. Oh, yeah. Okay, cool. There's Patrick. I see his sharks. Okay, so hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. This one has been in the works for a little while, and I'm so glad that Eric decided to do it with me because he's not a huge fan of Jamie Lee Curtis's work in the horror genre. But we decided to dive into this. There's a couple movies there's one movie that I didn't get to see, there's one movie he didn't get to see, but they're not the same. So one of us will carry the other one, right?
I'll do my best. I'm happy to be here. This has been a long time in the works. I've got my official Fear the Talking Heads Tumblr. This is going to be a lot of fun, and just for the occasion, because we're talking Jamie Lee Curtis, I will be wearing my silver Shamrock pin because you know what? That is the best Halloween movie out there. I don't care what people say.
Very impressive. And I
This will
have
be fun.
my Fear the Talking Heads shirt on. So I'm ready to go. Okay, so we wanted to do this in chronological order. Hi, Gina. We want to do this in chronological order, so we're of course starting with 1978 Halloween because
hmm
it's only fair to show how she's progressed through the years,
hmm
and definitely want to point out Halloween was her first role.
hmm
So, however we feel about that, I mean, I just kind of took it at face value all the years that I had watched it. It really wasn't until getting into YouTube and seeing other channels and people dissecting movies that I even thought to think twice on it.
hmm
You know, on oh, how did she do in this role? How did the other characters do? That sort of thing. So, her as Laurie Strode. Now, Eric, you have mentioned you kind of thought she wasn't as interesting as the other characters, and of course, that really she couldn't control because her character was written to be more of a bookworm and not into being this naughty girl persona.
I mean, she was. I give credit where credit's due. When it comes to Halloween, 1978, she's fine. You know what I mean? She's not great. She's not this, amazing spectacle to watch. She's fine. Her problem is she is overshadowed by the
PJ
Annie and the
Scholes.
Linda and
Mhm.
the Annie and the Linda character, because you have Linda, who's just boy crazy and bubbly and in your face with the totalies, and then you have the Annie character, who is kind of a whiner at times, but she has more of a presence. Laurie is very subdued. Laurie is like, how many times until the last third of the movie does she not whisper? You know what I mean? She's always whispering or very soft spoken, and she's really overshadowed by the other two actresses when it comes to, and of course, Donald Pleasance. He's this loud, boisterous guy. He's got all those, Shakespearean monologues. So she is kind of drowned out by them. She's just kind of there when it comes
Right.
to Laurie Strode in '78.
And like I said, I hadn't even thought uh Patrick had just said she was boring in Halloween 78, but I guess I never really considered any of that. I never took part any of the layers of the movie
Mm-hmm.
until later on. So, you know, and like Gina says, she likes Jamie Lee in the original and Halloween too because she's innocent and vulnerable, but the rest she's head doing. I don't know what it might have been a typo there.
Mm-hmm.
But I would agree with that too. I mean, we'll
Mm-hmm.
we'll we'll definitely get to Halloween 2, which came out 3 years later,
Mm-hmm.
but I kinda feel the same way that she was more of this vulnerable damsel in distress
Mm-hmm.
character,
Yeah,
which,
and
as we know, changes later on.
when she has to play the protector, like, she's got a good rapport with all of her actors. She's really
Mhm,
good with PJ Souls and Nancy Loomis. She's really good with them. She's really good with the two children. It's just she's overshadowed by her girlfriends. You know what I mean? And when
Mhm.
it gets to the finale, you can tell that I'm not knocking John Carpenter, but I'm pretty sure he just said, just run and scream. And that's all she did. And I don't know if that is a major problem because it was her first acting role. Because a lot of times she was just running and screaming or whimpering and stuff like that. And it's kind of rough for her being overshadowed by this group of people and then kind of maybe not had the best direction.
Right. Yeah. Sorry, I'm playing around with my settings.
No, hey, go for it. Do it. I'm just glad you didn't need to stream.
Yeah, so I would have to agree with a lot of what you said. I do feel though with this being her first like dipping her toes into the water,
Hmm.
and of course I didn't know until years later that she really didn't want to be in horror. Of course, back then we all kind of know now that head doing is annoying in England. Okay. I don't know what head doing is though. Gina, you're gonna have to explain that one to me.
She says, I like Jamie Lee Curtis in the OG and H2 as she's innocent and vulnerable, but the rest she's head doing. So what she's meaning is, so the rest she's annoying. So she's annoying in the rest of the franchise, I believe she's trying to say.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Um, well, as far as her start, I think in this movie, going back, kind of rewatching through the years, she definitely didn't draw my eye the way the other girls did, like you
Right.
said.
Yeah.
She's just the babysitter,
Hmm.
which, you can kind of tell digging into it a little bit deeper, that's all she does. She doesn't really do
Hmm.
anything but do her studies, watch some kids, go
Hmm.
home, go to sleep, that sort of thing. But how her character ended up in the end,
Hmm.
kind of fighting for her life, I was okay with that, even though you and I have kind of joked about that she just
But see, that's the thing.
but she was
She
new at it too, so I
Well,
don't wanna, like, be so mean.
here's the thing. I'm not going to be mean, but I'm going to be honest. She was just okay. Is that
Yeah,
good? By the end of it, when she's fighting for her life, she's just okay. You know what I mean? And I get the whole first film and stuff like that. Not everyone's going to knock it out of the park. A lot of people, certain people do. She may not have, but what I've always said with her as Laurie Strode, I think people use their love for the movie to kind of give her, a mulligan. You know what I mean? I'm like, hey,
right.
she's Laurie Strode. This is John Carpenter's masterpiece. You know what I mean? Nothing could go wrong in that film. So they're just like, she's amazing in it. And she's okay. She's fine. She's there. You know what I mean? She does her
Yeah,
job. She plays the this isn't a knock on her. She plays the boring babysitter. You know what I mean? The good girl, the one who knows all the answers when she's called on by the teacher, who carves the pumpkin with the kids, who is afraid to ask the boy out on the date, and then once we get to that last third of the movie, all she does is run and scream. And I've noticed a lot. Now, I don't know if this is just a woman thing, no offense, but a lot of you see, it's a cliche, and this is one of the cliches that I do love a cliche, Barb. This is one of the cliches I don't like. What is it with her specifically going through this freaking filmography of hers? Whenever she screams, she's always got to grab the sides of her head. You know what I mean? And like look like she's yanking her hair out. She does it in the next few films we're going to talk about. And that's all she kind of really does. And when it comes to screaming, she's definitely no Samara Weaving when it comes to screaming. Her shudders make me kind of cringe sometimes. To me, I've always teased whenever I do watch it, I always make it sound like she's making a turkey gobble noise. You know what I mean? When she kind of shudders. It's not. Hey, you know what? Maybe it's not her cup of tea. But if she's a scream queen, I think maybe she should improve on the screams as we go along. And I will definitely have words about that. But when it comes to 78, she's just there. She's not, in my opinion, she shouldn't be put on a pedestal just because she fought, a creepy guy in a William Shatner mask. She
right.
she 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 is the boring babysitter, and it shows in her performance. It kind of lacks, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think and hello, Mike. I see Mike in the chat. He's gonna watch for a while. He said, Jamie Lee Curtis, this is tough for me." Now,
Yeah, but you
remind
get to leave,
me,
Mike. I'm stuck here for the whole thing.
remind me, Mike, is she someone that you did like in horror or didn't really care for in horror? 'Cause I don't remember. I know we've probably discussed it. Okay, so I think where I'm at with this is back in 1978,
Hmm.
horror had a certain vibe to it, and
Okay.
I think she was probably accepted a little more widely then, whereas now I think, and I've told you this before, that I have a favorite,
Hmm.
and that favorite isn't the original.
Mm-mm.
And there's so many purists out there that would say, "No, no, no, how dare you say that your favorite is something other than the OG from 1978? That's just ludicrous." But I think, got my confidence to say
Hmm.
that H2O is my favorite. I finally got the
Hmm.
confidence to say that. I think after discussing it with you,
Hmm.
because I was really afraid to mention that in certain groups because they would just eat you alive.
I,
You know?
and that's what I always say. I'm not going to get on a soapbox, but you know what? If someone doesn't like the movie that you like, who cares? Guess
Right.
what? My favorite Halloween movie doesn't even fucking have Laurie in it. Okay, my favorite is Halloween 4. She's air quotes dead by then, so it doesn't matter. If you like something, if you like H2O, who cares what the others think?
Yeah.
If they have a problem with someone not liking the original, well, then there's something wrong with them. Where on the Michael Myers doll did they touch you? You know what I mean? There's something wrong with someone who gets angry that the original isn't like, sometimes fan is short for fanatic, for a reason. Dude, it's just a movie. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's just a movie. It's 90 minutes watching a silent guy in a mask stalking a lady who can somewhat act. That's what it is. That's your cup of tea. That's fine. It's not everybody's. And
Oh,
we'll get to H2O in a little bit, and you'll say why.
I'm just looking at Mike's comment. I have to agree she was okay in 78. I liked her better in H2O. She pissed me off too much in the Blumhouse trilogy. Oh,
Just
welcome
wait.
to our club.
Yeah, just wait. Just
I
wait.
can't believe he doesn't want to hang out after later on what we're going to be talking about.
That's what the replay is for, my dear. That's what the replay is for.
Oh, okay. So being that at a certain point of seeing 1978 and we accepted it for what it was, and then other
Hmm.
ones came out that we fell in love with.
Hmm.
And there's other franchises too that, I mean, not getting too off track here, but
Sure.
even with the Chucky movies,
Hmm.
Child's Play movies, I feel like the first one walked so the other ones could run. There's a few of them that I say are better than the first one. The first one seems more one dimensional, or whereas some of the other ones are multifaceted. I don't know. Bride of Chucky is kind of a big
Br-
deal, in
Oh,
the
Bride of Chucky is one of
almost.
my favorites. It's a lot. You
Yeah,
know why? Because it's a lot of fun. It's
yeah,
it,
it
it
is.
but you know what? Let's go to another loved franchise. Friday the 13th. First movie, it's fine. It's fine. That second one, when he's the crazy hillbilly in the woods with this, oh my god, that one is so much better. You have better characters. You have a more scary threat because he actually fucking runs after you. It's not always the original that is
Right,
going to be the best. Or you can always say it like this, and maybe it's the best made, but it might not be your favorite. There's always something that somebody attaches to
yeah,
when it comes to a film. Just because it's the original doesn't make it the best. Just because it's the original doesn't make it the all-time favorite of everybody's. No. We all have taste buds. What's sweet to someone is going to be bitter to another. You know what I mean? I used to
right.
love peanut butter until David Gordon Green showed up. Taste buds change when you get older. So,
Well, I think it's pretty. I was curious what the chat would say about
mhm,
it, just because I know some people find 78 to be very near and dear to them. And
mhm,
I don't want to take any of that away, of course.
right.
But okay, so Gina says 1978 is special to me. I saw it when I was 4 with my parents and absolutely loved it. Okay, she beats me because I thought I was a big deal for watching horror from like age 6 and 7, and she's been watching it since she was 4.
Mm.
Okay,
God bless her.
tops. All right.
Yep.
Mike says, well, I can hang for 30 minutes. Halloween 4 is my favorite. There's something about the opening. To be honest, Jamie Lee didn't do anything in Halloween 2. She was in bed the whole time. Have you and Eric been talking offline? Because
We'll get there. We'll get
this
there.
sounds so familiar.
Yep.
All right. So now that we've kind of gotten you through talking about Halloween, we're going in chronological order. And she put out 3 horror movies in 1980.
Mm-hmm.
So no, it's not a wonder to me that she was so sick of it by Halloween 2, that
Yeah.
she didn't wanna be in it.
Mm-hmm.
So and didn't wanna be pigeonholed, and I think most of the horror community knows this. I didn't know it for many years, but yes. So if you didn't know already, she felt like she was getting pigeonholed in all these roles in horror, and she really kinda wanted to step outside of that and get
Mm-hmm.
into some different genres, and I can't say I blame her, especially since she has said in several different interviews she's not a fan of horror. And there was a time that kind of bothered me that she said that, but
Mm-hmm.
then when I saw her interview from Horror Hound back, I wanna say, like, 12 years ago, she
Okay.
said she doesn't it's not like she's judging others for loving the horror. She said she just is such a scaredy cat, she
Mm-hmm.
doesn't enjoy doing it. But,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, and again, we'll talk about this later with the David Gordon Green trilogy, they offered her a lot of money to do it. So she's she is close to the character of Laurie Strode.
Mm-hmm.
She has said she does care about that character.
Mm-hmm.
It's just in general, it's not like if someone says to her tomorrow that, "Hey, we want you to be in this ghost movie or something," she's not gonna do it.
Right.
But because it was a Laurie Strode trilogy and she got to
Mm-hmm.
have some input into that, I can definitely see why she would have been pulled towards that. So I think that this project of us doing this really kind of gave me more of an understanding for
Mm-hmm.
her, more than anything, because I went into it thinking she doesn't even like horror, and I was, whatever. However she feels about horror, and then she did this David Gordon Green trilogy, but then as time went on, and I
Mm-hmm.
didn't even tell you this because I thought, "Oh, I'll just save it for our conversation
Oh,
that's left."
great.
Yeah, and so I thought I thought this is really interesting, kind of understanding her a little bit more on what she wants to put out there into the world, and,
Mm-hmm.
I suppose like many other things, you get to a certain age, she's gotten to a certain age with her career, no is a complete sentence. I have said this before. No is a complete sentence.
Mm-hmm.
If she doesn't want to do something, she can say no.
Yeah.
And I think she's been around long enough now. She can kind of pick and choose what she wants to work in,
Mm-hmm.
and good for her.
This is one thing I want to tell anybody listening or watching or whatever. This is not even though we're just kind of, we've said some negative things where we've said that she's just kind of fine in 70. This is not an anti Jamie Lee Curtis
No,
stream.
no,
We're not trashing her at all. I'm a
no.
fan of her. There will be some performances in this stream that I will say I enjoy her in.
Right.
I like her when she's in comedies. I love her in Trading Places. A sappy family film like My Girl, she's excellent in. You know what I mean? True Lies as the dorky wife that's in over her head. She's a lot of fun. She's a great actress. This is more so talking about, is she underrated or overrated in horror films?
Yeah,
Just the horror
specific.
genre. Just the
Mhm.
horror genre. This is not an
Yeah.
anti Jamie Lee Curtis stream. Even though I think someone else should have won the Oscar that year, I am happy that she did, and I am happy for her uh, personally because she's always one of those. Everybody starts out in horror films. Jennifer Aniston did, Kevin Bacon, George Clooney of all people. Everybody starts. Yeah, you got to start somewhere. She's one of the very, very select few. Like it's only maybe her and Johnny Depp and even Matthew McConaughey. They're the only 3 that I can think of off the top of my head that have never said that they're embarrassed by their first horror film that they've been in. Johnny Depp's always been proud of being in the first Nightmare on Elm Street. It's never really brought up often, but Matthew McConaughey is always pleasant when he talks about that awful Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie he's in. But he has nothing but nice things to say about getting that role. And then Jamie Lee Curtis, no matter what we say today, she has never once trashed the character of Laurie Strode. She's never once trashed the opportunity she was given by John Carpenter, even after all these years. Whether it took a dump truck full of money to bring her back in, she's always praised that character and praised that experience, and you can tell it's a genuine appreciation for that film specifically. Maybe not some of the others that she's been in, also
Mhm.
non-Halloween, but she's always shown, in my opinion, a genuine appreciation for being an actress who started off in that genre. So that's what I really like about her and respect about her.
Yeah. Mike, you have a good point. She was really great in Knives Out and Two
Yes,
Lives. Yeah.
yes,
I mean, when you're starting to take her out of the horror genre, that's when you really see her shine, in
yes,
my opinion.
yeah.
So, yeah. So the next one up, released in February of 1980, The Fog. Now, this was one of the movies that there was the one and only movie that I have not seen in her horror category.
At all?
You have. No, I haven't seen it. And well,
Oh wow.
you know what? I think I've seen pieces of it when I was a kid,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not enough to remember now how many years later. I'm not gonna tell you how many years later, but
Yeah.
but yeah, so I'm gonna let you take over for that and just kind of talk about her character in The Fog.
There's the thing is, in her defense, she's not a main character. I think she's got about the same amount of screen time as a movie we're going to talk about in a little bit. Road Games. She's not a. It doesn't focus mainly on her. All she really does, in my opinion, she meets Tom Atkins, sleeps with him, and does a lot of screaming and running away from pirate ghosts. There's not much to her character, and that's not necessarily a knock on her in this movie because it doesn't really focus on her. She's not the main character. She's just kind of there. And I think what she's given is she's fine. She's got a decent rapport and chemistry with Tom Atkins. I mean, who doesn't? The guy is amazing with anything he's in. But she's just kind of there to fall in love with him and be scared, and I think she's decent. The reason why I think she gets so much praise is because, again, it's a John Carpenter film. It's one of his better ones, but that one's all about the atmosphere. The ghosts or spirits or whatever you want to call them, they look goofy as hell. They're right out of Scooby-Doo. They really are. But it's a good movie. Like, that's an Adrienne Barbeau movie. That's not a Jamie Lee Curtis movie. But the thing is, I think, again, this isn't a knock on the horror community. I think they praise her so much, and they say it's a Jamie Lee Curtis film. It's not. It's Tom Atkins. It's Adrienne Barbeau. It's mostly them. She does fine. This is another fine performance from her. It's definitely one that I think you should see as a horror fan. Um, you know, because it is a good film. Despite some of its goofiness, but that comes with a lot of John Carpenter films. She is fine with what she is given to do. Just be one of the many women that falls in love with Tom Atkins, even though he doesn't have the mustache. You know what I mean? He's like Samson. Once he cut the mustache, he loses a little bit of his powers. You know what I mean? But she's really good with him, and that's one thing I noticed when we have our ups and downs with her career that we're going to discuss. If she has a good leading man, she's really good. They can bring that out of her. And Tom Atkins does pretty good bringing that out of her. But when it's just her again, bumping up against a wall and a dead body falls out, she does that, that hair pulling scream. That's when she kind of, in my opinion, kind of loses it.
Yeah.
So this is another decent performance. It's hard to judge because, in my opinion, she's not there enough to give. This would probably maybe be. It's more than a cameo, but it's less than a leading role, if that makes sense with her
Yeah.
time frame.
So
So
not too much time in it. Yeah, I do need to watch that one.
yeah, and like Patrick says, Hal Holbrook was also good. Janet Leigh is in it. The other act, she's kind of swallowed up in the cast. You know what I mean? It's another
Mhm.
thing but she's been, she can kind of get used to acting because she's also done, I think she's done some TV by now. She can kind of get out there, but again, to her credit, she's also swallowed up by this great cast.
Yeah, and so I feel they really wanted, I mean, as far as her getting done with 1978 Halloween,
Hmm.
and then going on to do 3 movies that released in 1980. So that means her 1979 was super busy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
It seems like it.
it doesn't surprise me then that she would be more of a supporting in at
Mm-hmm.
least one of those movies.
Right. And this is probably the most supporting role, I think. Well, obviously, yeah, because she's the lead of the next 2 we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
So, but it again,
Oh,
the
Steven.
fog is
Hi,
really good.
Steven.
Oh, hey, Steven.
So the next one up, well, first of all, anything else that we want to talk about for the fog, or do you feel like you kind of covered that with her character?
Concerning her, like I said, there's really not much to discuss. She does her job. She's fine, but
Yeah.
that's it. I think again, because it's a John Carpenter film, because it's The Fog,
Mm-hmm.
that's why her acting is elevated higher than I think it deserves to be.
Right.
And that's not a knock on her, but I think like she still shouldn't be on that pedestal yet. You know what I mean? She's slowly climbing up and getting there,
Oh,
but she's
yeah.
not there yet.
Well, next up came out in June of 1980, Terror Train.
Yes. Okay.
So I
This
liked
one was
her
a
in Terror Train.
yes. This
Yeah.
is where this is where she's really climbing that ladder. This one was a pleasant surprise movie wise to me. Like
I'm glad that you suggested this one to me, 'cause I remember it was sitting in my watch list forever.
mm-hmm.
And I don't know why I wasn't hitting play on it because it so if anyone hasn't seen it, it's basically if you're wanting to find something to watch on New Year's Eve, it's from a New Year's Eve.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
it's a New Year's Eve party movie. Yep.
Yeah. And so there's a bit of mystery to it. So me loving the Scream franchise as much as I do because I want to know who's under the mask and who's creating all this chaos. And you don't
Mm-hmm.
find out of course, till the third act. But it was that same kind of feeling to Terror Train, which is I think why I liked it because there's someone that's swapping masks throughout the movie.
Mm-hmm.
First he's in this mask and now he's in another mask, and you're like, okay, I think I know who's murdering people on this train, but it's not, it's like there's always going to be a red herring, and this movie continues with that whole trope.
This movie this was a pleasant surprise. I saw this for the first time in maybe the last handful of years, and we did it for our show, me and Alex, because it was a request, and we kind of shrugged it off. This is just going to be some dumb fucking slasher movie from 1980. We've seen them all before. And this was a lot of fun. This one was a lot of fun. I knew who it was right away, pretty
Did you
much.
really?
Well, I knew who was doing the killing right away because of the opening sequence, but I didn't know who the character was. I didn't know who the reveal got me. How about that? The reveal of when they find out how the person was hiding on the train. That
Mm-hmm.
totally got me. I did not get that one a lot or get that one at all. Because, they say maybe it could be the magician. Maybe it could be this guy. David Copper. Did you expect David Copperfield to show up as the magician? You know what I
I was
mean?
like, dang, he was hot as a kid. I was gonna say as a kid, he was hot as a young adult. Like,
Yeah.
I guess I had forgotten, and he didn't even look like him, and that's because I didn't know who he was until later in life when he looked a little bit different. But yeah,
Yeah. Well,
he
he had that 1980s bad, like Bruce Campbell Evil Dead haircut that everybody had in 1980. And it was just a fun movie. And once we get past that opening sequence, because we won't spoil the movie, but she is involved in a prank. Once we get past that part where she does, like, again, she grabs the side of her head and screams, she's good in this. She's likable. She's very charming in this film. That's what I like. She's very charming, even when she is kind of brushing off David Copperfield. When he's showing her the magic trick with the cigarette and the quarter, and she's kind of flirting with him a little bit. She's a lot of fun,
she was
and
a lot of fun in this.
she isn't. She's not as much of, in my opinion, when she has to be the air quotes damsel in distress, the final girl. In this one, I think she has improved than when she was with Laurie Strode in Halloween.
Right.
I think she has a stronger presence. She still has that scream that I don't like, and the moaning and stuff. But as a character, as her acting, I enjoy her actually a lot more than I enjoy her as Laurie Strode in Halloween '78. I think she's finally gotten enough under her belt to improve, to stand out more. And it also helps that she's not kind of swallowed up by the cast. Because
Right.
we also have Vanity there as her best friend. You know, everybody from the '80s remember Vanity. She's one of Prince's girls. She is the lead in this film. She's not second banana to Tom Atkins. She's not swallowed up by PJ Souls and Nancy Loomis. She's there up front, and she's given the chance to show what she can do, and she took the ball and she ran. I think she scored a touchdown. She's very, very good in Terror Train.
Well, and I think that, just my opinion, maybe the director gave her a little bit more leeway on acting more confident, and
Hmm.
or it's just the character. You know, she's
Yeah.
given a different character, and her character is very flirty, which she's very flirty in real life, just from what
Hmm.
I've seen in like
Yeah.
the interviews and such. So, but yeah, I like Terror Train. I feel like I tend to, with horror movies, look at rewatchability.
Yes.
And I feel like The Fog, just from what I've seen, I don't I that's probably gonna be a movie that I watch once and I don't go back to. I can already
You
say that.
well, you can go back to it, but you know me, I also look for the fun factor. Terror Train is fun.
Yeah.
Don't it is not a perfect movie. There's a lot of stupid shit in it. You know what I mean? There really is. But that fun factor will get me to return to it. If it's New Year's Eve and I want to watch a New Year's Eve movie, I'm not putting in New Year's Evil. That movie is trash and not the good kind. I'm going to put in Terror Train because it's a lot of fun. You have, even though some of these characters are goofy and stupid and annoying, they're not turning the movie off annoying. You know what I
Right.
mean? There's a lot of fun to this. The Fog, again, like I said, Scooby Doo, Pirate Ghost, whatever you want to say, you also have to be in the right mood for it. You want a dark, like maybe gloomy, rainy, cold night for The Fog. You don't want me personally, I'm not going to watch The Fog in summertime. You know, it's like watching The Thing in August. You're not going to do that. You know what I mean? You know,
You
you
want the
have to
full
be,
effect,
you
right?
do. You want
Yeah.
the full effect. You want to watch watch The Fog in the dark. You know what I mean? So you have to have the certain mood to really get into The Fog. Terror Train, boop, it's on. I'll watch it doing laundry, vacuuming, that type of thing. It's one of those that, you know what? It's a lot of fun. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to watch it. Maybe get up, do the dishes, sit back down, watch it. It's one of those fun movies. And it was a pleasant
Right.
surprise. It really was. And again, like I said, she was here and then she's climbing up a little bit. And then now with Terror Train, she's almost at the top, of the ladder. And
Well,
she
with
she she
Terror
does a
Train
great job.
too, it's not as much of a scream queen as more of a survivalist.
Yeah.
She's a survivor. Scream Queen, when I looked it up, just because I was curious, what is it defined as truly? And it was a damsel in distress was actually listed there.
Hmm.
And I feel like in Terror Train, she held her own when
She
she was
did.
in that cage, and she was trying to. I feel like she did a good job.
Oh, she was
Yeah.
really, really good. And in that scene where she has the final confrontation with the killer, I think she holds her own. It's very brief. You know what I mean? It's very brief when they're at the
Right.
table. You know what I mean? And the reveal happens. You buy it. You buy the fear in her eyes. You know what I mean? And that's what's great with her performance in Terror Train. It was a pleasant
Absolutely.
surprise. And like I said, she's up there. She's almost at the top of the rung on the ladder with this one.
Yeah. Well, I do feel like now is the time to bring up Prom Night from November of that year.
Hold on, hold on. I need my pudding. I brought some pudding. Oh man, if I got a lot to fucking say about this fucking movie. This was I made sure it was chocolate fudge pudding because I need the comfort. But
Do you need some
uh
sustenance now?
oh, I do.
Thank
My
you,
God.
Gina.
Thanks,
Gina said,
Gina.
"Don't forget to send the like button."
Thanks,
All
Gina.
right. Mike says, "I have to agree with Eric. I always watch The Thing and The Shining in January, and always watch it when it snows because there's snow. There's snow in the movies. The Fog
Yep.
was okay, 4 out of 10. I will say this: when it's time to watch something in the Friday the 13th franchise, I generally can't get myself into watching it in the wintertime for a
Hmm.
reason. I mean, we're talking this is all
You want it
happening
to be in
in.
summertime. When you watch a Halloween movie, you want to watch it in the fall. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
absolutely.
It
Yeah,
helps with the atmosphere.
I agree.
All right, let's do this.
So
Rip the
now
Band-Aid
prom
off.
night, I just rewatched prom night. What was it, about a month ago with Granny?
Mm-hmm.
And it seemed fine. It was like an 80s movie or whatever, but it literally, from in my opinion, it could have been literally anyone else in that role. But she was hot at the time, like popular, and they wanted her for a lot of what was coming out.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see why they put her in this position. But I'm going to let Eric take this because Eric has a lot to say.
I've only seen this movie initially once, and it was okay. Our daughter's 13, so she might have been a baby. So it's been that long since I saw this film. Me and my wife both watched it and we hated it. We thought it was boring. Leslie Nielsen's in it. God bless him, but he disappears. Leslie Nielsen plays her father. He disappears through the movie, and me and my wife's name is Rachel. Me and Rachel both decided, well, he's like, wow, this movie fucking sucks. I'm gonna go make Airplane. That came out the same year. But it does help sometimes with watching a movie with a fresh set of eyes. It depends on when you first watch it. Like I said, taste buds change when you get older. No, I watched this last night. I sent you an all capital letters text. This is awful. And she is, and like I said, we're judging her performances, not the movie. So even if I hated this movie, if she was good, I'd tell you she was good. She
That's
was.
because some actors can pull it through. I've talked about that for a few people on when I do the sorry, my chair's slipping away. When I've done like actor or actress highlights and
Mm-hmm,
do an entire episode just talking about their projects.
mm-hmm.
I've said before, Jason Patrick, even there's been movies that he's been in where the movie wasn't solid, but he was. So
That's what a good actor is. Like I told you the wrestling term, turn chicken shit into chicken salad. If you're that good, you can do that. She was awful in this movie. She was flat out awful.
I said to
She
Eric, "What, you didn't like her little dance?" That was all her. She had previous experience with dancing in real life, so she brought that into the movie.
God bless her. If that's all she can contribute to this movie, she did fine. If this is she should have been with John Travolta in Saturday Night Fever instead of Prom Night. She is not good at all in this, despite the fact that this movie is boring. Despite the fact that I wanted to turn it off within the first 10 minutes, because literally 3 or 4 minutes are those dumbass kids saying kill, kill when they're doing their little prank with the little girl. That notwithstanding, this movie being boring, she is not good at all in this. She tries to be the flirty girl. We've seen it. She's flirty in Terror Train. We've seen it, so we know she can do it. She fails here. She is not really likable or dislikable. She's just there. She doesn't have a standout performance. I don't buy her when she's being scared at all. She has her typical Jamie Lee Curtis scream. Whatever. I've bashed that enough. It is what it is. But I don't buy her fear. She is, I think, by the time she made this movie, if this is her third in a year, I think she's tired. And I think it's showing in her performance. It's like I've said sometimes when I'm doing YouTube, if you force yourself to do a YouTube video when you don't want to do it, it shows. I think it shows in this performance. And I swear to God, Barb, I was yelling at my TV. Like, I won't spoil the film for people that haven't seen it because, you know what, every time could be someone's first time. I
Did you
won't.
have the killer guessed? Did you figure out who the killer was
You know
when
who
you?
the killer is in the very beginning of the movie. Once the little girl is killed, you know who it is. You can
Oh,
put two.
oh, I
Okay,
suck at this then.
okay. I knew who it was. I knew who it was.
Thank
I
you.
thought it was obvious. Again, but again, I won't reveal who it is. But when she has that reveal, instead of the shock and awe, the oh my god look, you know what I mean? This is where I'm yelling at the TV, Barb. If it wasn't for the fact that I didn't want to break it by throwing my remote, I would have. Instead of her doing that, oh my god, it's you, because who it is very important in a relation with her character. Instead of being scared, she looks like she's gonna throw up.
Yeah.
Not in the like I'm disgusted, I'm shocked, because people might have that type of feeling. She just looks like she's just gonna puke. And that's bad acting. I don't know if it was the
Well,
director, but she should have known better by now how to react to something like that. Because again, this isn't the first time we've seen a shocking reveal with the killer. She did really good in Terror Train. And this, I'm just like, what the fuck is your problem, lady?
I was just gonna say sometimes I do wonder if it's not a director issue and not so much the actress, because there's been movies I've watched where I thought, why didn't the director step in and have
Mm-hmm.
her do this just a little bit differently, or he have him do it a little bit differently? It could have been a whole different scene.
Mm-hmm. The thing is, that could have been the best take out of maybe 10 takes. That's your best take, and you look like you're gonna throw up on somebody's shoes when you're supposed to be shocked and scared as to who the killer is. Fail. She
Yeah,
has climbed up that ladder, and she's like got one leg up on the part of the building to be on the top of the be on the top. She stumbled and she fell all the way down and hit every rung on the ladder, in my
so if we're
opinion, with Prom Night.
And do
Oof.
you also feel like you will kind of rank movies in your collection as rewatchable, means that they're higher up to you, like you can rank them higher as like a 4 out of 5 stars, something like
Mhm.
that? Do you feel like those are in line with each other?
What do you mean?
Rewatchability. Okay, let me think of a different way of saying this. If a movie is rewatchable to you, does it automatically gain a star or two for you then? Are
Yeah,
they?
that's how I rate films. I rate films by fun factor and rewatchability.
Yeah.
Now, I will appreciate a well-made film, and I can say that movie is fantastic, but just because it's, the freaking Godfather and Francis Ford Coppola doesn't mean I'm going to give it 5 stars. Hey, guess what? I'm gonna rank The Burbs with Tom Hanks from Joe Dante over The Godfather, because I will watch the hell out of that movie. You know what I mean? Because of the fun factor. The Godfather, I don't really give a shit about that movie. Well made, but I don't care. So it's going to be down here. And then when rewatchability, that is again, Terror Train, excuse me, is going to be up there.
Yeah,
This movie,
I agree.
I will never watch this movie again. There is no, unless it's something like with my stream with Melissa, because again, it's a air quotes classic for some fucking reason. I don't understand why everyone loves this movie, but again, tastes are different. Not going to disrespect, but I don't get it. If she wants to watch this, I will force myself to watch it. I will never watch this movie ever again.
Oh, okay. I was just about to bring this up, and then Gina
Oh,
said something. Thank you, Gina, because I do want to talk about this. She said, "Don't shoot me, but I actually prefer the remake of Prom Night, and I know it's bad."
okay.
Are we talking about the movie with Brittany Snow? Because I'm going to get on my soapbox now.
Do
Everyone
it.
thinks that that's a remake. It is not a remake. It's just a movie that happens to have the same title.
Okay.
Brittany Snow, Jonathan Sheck. Jonathan Sheck is the teacher that's obsessed with her. And another thing is, it's never hidden who the killer is. He's stalking her and he's killing her friends. Thank you for bringing it up though,
Is
Gina,
that the
because
one with, isn't Idris Elba in that too? I think as a police.
yeah,
Okay, okay.
yeah,
I've
and
seen
it's
I've
not a
seen the I've
remake.
seen I've seen the poster. And the thing is, again, you
And
know
it's
me,
and
remake
it's never
everything.
but also it's never said this is the remake of the original. People just automatically assumed, "Oh, it's the remake of the one with Jamie Lee Curtis." And Gina, you know how you said, "I know it's bad." It's not bad. It's
Mhm.
actually a great movie, and
Okay.
it was kinda terrifying because as a woman, you had thinking of someone stalking you, and
Mhm.
they're not gonna give up until they get to you. And I mean, he's killed, people in her family just to get a hold of her, and
Mhm.
now it's prom night.
Yeah.
It's prom night, he found out where she is, and it's a fantastic movie, and it has nothing to do with this 1980 movie that starred Jamie Lee Curtis, and I'm kinda shouting it from the rooftops because I just want people to know. I think it's worth watching. I
Do
think
it.
it was a great movie, and I realize my opinion on something isn't always gonna match up to what someone else thinks, but I don't know. I think the reason why people did not like it is because they're comparing it too much to a movie that only shares the name.
They're comparing it to a movie that isn't good. They're comparing it to a movie that is awful. This movie is bad. Bad, bad, bad. Here's the thing. I like Hello Mary Lou Prom Night too. That's a bad movie. But man, that movie is stupid and fun. That has absolutely no connection to Prom Night. This is about an awful woman who is prom queen in the 50s or 60s. She is killed accidentally by a young Michael Ironside, and her ghost comes back and possesses people so she can be prom queen again. Doesn't that sound fucking stupid? That's a sequel to Prom Night, but it's in
I
name
saw it
only.
twice.
See? And there's 2 more sequels
Yeah.
after that that has nothing to do with Jamie Lee Curtis's movie.
Right.
So there are plenty of examples of remakes in name only, sequels in name only that can be, cult classics, lost treasures, however you want to say it, but they're looked down upon or avoided because people are comparing it. And again, I'm also joking, half joking with how much I am and I'm not trashing Prom Night, but they're if they do enjoy Prom Night and they're holding it in as high regard as they do, God bless them. But they're also overlooking a possible really good or fun air quotes sequel or air quotes remake. And that's why I say remake everything, because you could have a good time, and you and Gina are perfect examples of enjoying the remake, not remake of Prom Night. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean, anyone that would come across this video later after, just post-recording, and if they kinda watch it through, this channel is likes to talk about movies that maybe aren't on the radar for
Yeah.
most people, or
Hmm.
that we found fun that maybe other people don't find to be fun, that maybe didn't do the greatest at the box office, but still landed up in our collection.
Hey,
That sort of
I'll
thing.
say this, Barb. I've always joked about. Do I need Redemption Kickboxer 5? No, I got it as a completionist. I'll
Yep.
say this: I own the Blu-ray copy of Hello, Mary Lou, Prom Night 2. I will never spend a dime on Prom Night. So that says something.
Well, that out of those 3 from 1980, the only one that I can say that, yeah, I would probably go back and rewatch again, or not even probably, I know I would rewatch it again, is Terror Train.
Yeah.
The Fog, once I watch it, it's probably gonna be a one and done,
Mm.
and Prom Night, I've seen it now once as a kid and now again as an adult, and I just really don't feel like it's one that I need to. And, some people say that a movie like, the 1970s Amityville was boring. I didn't find it boring.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a certain vibe with some of the movies from the 70s. That's
Yes.
why, you look at movies in their decades and you
Mm-hmm.
will definitely see how they change, how they progress through time, how directors kind of come into it and go, okay, well, this worked and this didn't work in the 70s. Let's do something different for the 80s, or let's do something different for the 90s, which is
There's a definite shift in tone.
there
There's a
is.
definite shift in slow burning when it comes to
Right.
movies like that. Like The Fog, that's got a slow burn to it. Because, well, but again, 1980. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's still got that 70s vibe to it. But then the 80s slashers, that was boom, 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 boom. You know what I mean? You knew what you were getting. Um, and one thing I will say this about Terror Train, to me, there's no lag. You know what I mean? Because they
Right.
do a good job of having the killer do his thing. Then we talk to the people. Killer do his thing. David Copperfield is doing like a 5-minute performance, which is still fun as hell.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Killer does his thing, boom, 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 and then we get the end. And you have these likable characters like the train conductor, the drunken train conductor, and his assistant. And there's a lot of fun characters, and that helps again with a rewatchability.
I think
So
so too.
even though we're mainly focusing on Jamie's performances, I want to give a big shout out to Terror Train because again, that was a pleasant surprise.
Yeah, so if anyone has not seen Terror Train and you like to go back and rewatch or watch or rewatch some of the 80s movies, I would add that one to your list. Where did we see Terror Train? I'm trying to remember. Was that a
Tubi,
Tubi? I
Tubi.
thought so. Okay.
Hmm.
Tubi is fantastic. All right, Mike, thank you. Mike says, great review. Headed out now, Barb and Eric. I will text you later, Barb. Thanks. Yeah, he owes me a list of movies to add to my anyone watching. What I'm trying to do for the new year is 365 movies in 365 days. It's cumulative. I don't have to watch one movie per day. It's just kind of a fun 365/365. There's going to be
Hmm.
some days where I don't watch anything. There's going to be other days where I watch 3 things. So, it just depends on how I feel that day as
Well, you usually watch two with Granny anyway, so
yeah, that's right. Granny is
yeah,
always a double feature. So
yeah.
thank you for staying around, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
I will talk to you later. But yeah, so the next one that we are going to talk about, there's 2 movies that she did in 1981, and the first one might be one that people have not seen, and I highly recommend, is Road Games.
I did not know this movie existed until we came up with the idea for this stream. I just literally before we went live and before we were backstage working out our kinks and trying to figure out how to put everybody on camera and stuff like that. I literally had maybe finished this half hour before we went live. This movie was a lot of fun. This
Yeah,
movie
I
was
liked it.
this movie was really, really good. And you know what? I put this performance, Jamie Lee Curtis, above Terror Train. I think she's really good in this one. And again, I think it's because what I mentioned with the fog, I can't really praise her or put her down because she's not in it that much for me.
Right.
But I did say when she's with Tom Atkins, she's got great chemistry with him. Man, her and Stacy Keach in this movie, they bring out the best out of each other in this when they're on screen together. She is so good in this movie.
Yeah, the dingo is so cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was highly protective of that animal.
Hmm.
I thought, okay, so if you're someone that likes to go to doesthedogdie.com, there's something off screen that happens. I'm going to go ahead and tell you the dog does not die. The animal
Right.
does not die, just for any of the animal lovers in the group like myself.
Hmm.
And I just thought it was a really good Stacy Keach. They give him a ton of dialogue, and he's
Hmm.
in the truck just kind of having a conversation, looking over at his dingo, and it's really mostly him in the movie, and she kind of
Correct.
comes in later. And I'm trying to think if she came in like 45 minutes in,
She,
something like
she
that.
she's in this movie definitely more than she is in The Fog, or at least she's more memorable. But
Right.
this movie is maybe an hour and 45. She probably has an hour's worth of screen time. So this is not a cameo. This is not a and starring Jamie Lee Curtis. This is a Jamie Lee Curtis movie, in my opinion.
And they did have good chemistry.
Oh, they were great
Her and Stacy
together.
Keach. And Stacy Keach has some swagger in this. I know he's not the focus, but I was like, dang, Stacy Keach. Go
He's
on with your swagger.
when it comes to the horror community, he's like the discount version of Tom Atkins. He's an older gentleman. He is not air quote. He's kind of. I don't try to be mean. Especially coming from me. He's kind of doughy. He's kind of old. He's rough around the edges. But like Tom Atkins, you love the guy. He's always giving great performances, and he wins Jamie Lee Curtis over in this. They're not lovers or anything like that. He's literally a truck driver going from point A to point B. There is a serial killer on the loose. Jamie Lee Curtis is the hitchhiker. I love how he calls her Hitch. You know what I mean? And he picks her up because she's run away from home, and it's just them trying to survive and figure out who the killer is, type of thing. They're so good together. She is finally confident in her roles. You know what I mean? She is flirty. She is charming. She is strong. She does not put up with some of Stacy Keach's bullshit. My name's not Hitch. It's I don't
Yeah, and
remember
she's
what
an
her
heiress. Her dad's got a lot of money, and she's just out there
exactly.
hitchhiking for I don't know the fun of it, whatever.
Yeah,
But
because she doesn't like her stepmom or something like that.
yeah,
Something like that.
I
But
feel
she
like her
holds her
character.
own.
I feel like her, and tell me if you think the same. I feel like her character in this was very similar to how her character was in Terror Train. Like you literally could have said that it was the same character in some ways because she was very confident.
Yeah, she's a little stronger, I think, in road games. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? But again, the fact that she's acting against Stacy Keach helped. She's strong in Terror Train, but she's acting. No offense, she's acting against Vanity. She's acting against David Copperfield, who is a magician. You know what I mean? Stacy Keach is a great actor, but she holds her own with him, and that says a lot. And she's finally come a long way. And oh my God! And maybe I am praising her because I watched this film right after Prom Night. You know what I mean? That might have a little bit to do with it. But I will say this was a fantastic performance. You know what I mean? She wasn't running around screaming and scared for 30 minutes to 45 minutes. You know what I mean?
Oh, right. Because
There,
and we're not giving too much away by saying this,
right.
but she does have a run in. She does have
Yes.
a run in with the serial killer.
Yeah,
And
and
she's just,
she's not dropping her keys and like I said, making the turkey gobble noises. Oh, when she's just scared of the killer, she does what she needs to do, and she's very very good in this. And again, she's likable. You know what I mean? She's just a hitchhiker. She's literally just a hitchhiker that he picks up. But the more we learn, the more we get to know her, the more I like her. You know
Right.
what I mean? And it isn't like this, like, she brought it. We're going to
I'm
talk
so glad
about,
that you watched this one because I wasn't sure if you were going to have time.
yeah, I made sure to watch this one because there's one I did not get to that I'm going to watch after this, but I'm like, I have to choose between the one of the two. And since this is on Tubi and I have to find the other one, I
Yes.
I had access to this one, and I'm like, I'm glad I watched it because even if we weren't doing this Jamie Lee Curtis, excuse me, stream, it's still a good movie. I'm glad I watched it, and like I said, she brings it. She is a
Right.
likable character, and I care about her. You know, she has a confrontation with the serial killer. I don't want her to die. You know what I mean? This isn't like Prom Night where I wanted her to be gone very early. I wanted her to survive. I'm not saying whether she does or not. You know what I mean? Watch the movie.
Yeah, and
It's
I
really
I
good.
felt I
Sh-
felt pretty captivated by, like, as far as seeing their chemistry on the screen, I felt captivated enough to continue watching. It wasn't a movie that I felt like, "Oh, I'm bored with this. I wanna turn it off."
And to me, sometimes they argued like an old married couple. You know what I mean? They weren't putting up with each other's shit. You know, because it's literally just Stacy Keach, Jamie Lee Curtis, and the Dingo in this truck. You know, and then it's the whole, we gotta stop here. She needs to use like the bathroom or something. She sees the green van. You know, so we keep the tension going, type of thing. But for the most part, it's the two of them on screen together, and that's where she really shines because, like I said, she has someone great to play off of.
That's
It helps bring out her performances. Like when Dan Aykroyd is the perfect example when we're going to non-horror. I just mentioned Trading Spaces, or is Trading Places, and My
Mhm.
Girl. She plays the love interest of Dan Aykroyd in both of those films. She's fantastic
Yeah, she
because they
does.
have great chemistry with each
I was gonna
other.
say, yeah, they must have whenever you see 2 people in another movie together, obviously the directors have seen something that
Yeah. So she's one of those actresses that is good, but when she has that perfect co-star, she's even better. And I wish Stacy Keach was more well known, but he's definitely one of those guys that when he pops up, he's great. Whether it's the TV show Titus, where he's the grumpy old dad, of Christopher Titus, he's really good and funny. Or when he's that awful, I'm not going to say the N word, the awful, what, in American History X. He is so evil in that
Oh, I
movie.
forgot that he was in
Yes,
American History
he
X.
he's the one that they all listen to. You know what I
Oh my
mean?
gosh.
There's
Okay.
Edward Norton, and then there's Stacy Keach.
That was a good
He-
movie.
He's so good and terrifying in
Yeah.
that film. He knows what his character is. Like I said, I won't say it because of YouTube. He knows what his character is, and he shows it. He's terrifying.
Right.
Really good in this because there's some scenes where he this is a minor spoiler where he has to find Jamie Lee Curtis. And when he's talking to himself, is she worth it? And I love how he's talking with his inner monologue, you know what I mean, to keep himself motivated and staying awake. When he's talking to himself, is she worth it? Nah, she's probably, finding some other dude to hook up with. And he's not trying to be her lover either, but he's just trying to, he's driving with the wheels like this. I love that. And he's just talking to himself, pumping himself up, and then he's like, I got to rescue her, type of thing. You care about him because he has been with her enough to care about her. And
Right.
again, I just love how she cares about him, but there's also times when she doesn't put up with his bullshit. So she's
And
really good in this.
I wanna say that I actually watched this one on YouTube. Sometimes you can find movies on YouTube that people have uploaded either legally or illegally.
Hey,
You know, one of the 2. But so you watched this one on Tubi, I think I
correct.
watched it on YouTube, so there's plenty of places to see it, that doesn't it's not gonna cost you anything too.
If you're fans of movies like Joyride with Paul Walker or that movie Duel, from the
Yeah,
70s that Spielberg directed, this is the perfect type of.
this is
It's
it.
basically it's like that, but just in Australia. It's really good.
Exactly. So, now, the following movie came out that same year,
Okay.
and I think I already know how you feel about this one, but I'll bring it up. Halloween 2.
Oh, oh,
Alright, so if I'm not mistaken, I think Eric thought this one was she didn't really do anything, she was just kind of, like, in the hospital moving around on her I mean, she was injured, from the first
Yeah,
one. They brought this movie out 3 years later. It's something that she didn't have any control over was the wig. Okay, the
it's not
wig
her
needs
fault.
yeah, that's not on her.
Hmm.
And, I think at that point too, she had already had her hair cut.
Yeah,
She had already done the short hair Jamie Lee Curtis at that point.
she had shorter hair in Terror Train and Prom
Yeah.
Night.
Yeah. So they had to try to get some continuity there, which when I was younger, I didn't even notice that it wasn't her hair.
Oh, I didn't either.
You
It's
know?
one of those things that you don't notice until everyone points it out. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? Even
absolutely.
though you can see right there, that is whether it's a wig or not, that's not even the same hairstyle she had at the end of Halloween. But
Yeah, it must be that bedhead, right, Eric?
yeah, whatever. I think bedhead is like the least of her fucking problems in Halloween
Yeah.
too.
Well, in this movie, I mean, her whole job was to basically be this injured damsel in distress. So if we're saying, hey, scream queen, that's what falls beneath it on the definition to be a damsel in distress. She aced it then in that case because she's trying to get through this hospital without getting killed by Michael Myers. Because now he's hunting her down because by the second movie, it's been revealed that Michael Myers is her brother.
Yeah.
So he's not going to stop until he gets to her.
My
And
problem, like, I'm not going to talk about my problems with Halloween 2 because we'd be here all night, Barb. Um, this is one of those movies where I think that people in the horror community take their love for the character and place the character over the performance. Now, again, all jokes about the wig notwithstanding, she doesn't do that much in this movie, but the thing is, she's in this movie quite a bit, you
right.
know. And yes, I get it. Oh, she got a bad performance because she's drugged up. No, no, no. She doesn't give a good performance because she just doesn't give a good performance. This is another one you can tell she didn't want to be there. And then
Oh, well, I didn't know that until I started picking around on the internet to find out Halloween 2 was when she had decided she didn't want to do horror at all. That she was just going to say no
mhm,
and hold out for other genre roles.
yeah.
So it makes
Y-
sense then, right?
yeah, it shows. And again, it's not her fault with how the character is written, but she can also bring her A game because she is an actor. You're paid to act. And I just think I bring up, Heather Langenkamp in part 3, and I always say she kind of sleepwalks through that role. I think Jamie Lee Curtis just kind of sleepwalks through this one. There's one scene where she screams, "Help!" I buy that scream over the scream that she's been given for the past, since '78. But she's just kind of there. There's nothing to this performance at all, in my opinion. She's just kind of there. Like it's not bad. Like Prom Night, it's not bad, but it's not even to the same part. Like she's playing the same character that she played in '78, drugged up or not. She's playing the same character she played in '78. She doesn't even bring that low key energy, in my opinion, that she had, in the final act of Halloween to this role. I don't think she is just given any effort in this one at all. And the problem is, again, because in our little teaser for this stream, we said, we did throw in the term overrated. I think this is really a prime example of an overrated performance. It's not bad, but it's not great. It's not good. It's just kind of she's there.
Well, and
She's
there's a lot of people out there that prefer her in this over the original, and I'm kind of flabbergasted by that, really. But I mean, everyone's going to have their own thoughts, but yeah,
and the thing is, I would love to have a civil conversation with those people. Tell me why, because I don't see it.
yeah.
I really don't. And the thing is, I'm the type of person where if you have a civil conversation with me, like, and that's coming from me, most of the times when I'm ranting and raving, it's out of jest, it's out of fun, you know what I mean? But I really want to know, what is it about this performance that you may like over the first one as Laurie Strode? Because I don't see it. I really don't. And like I said, a really good actor can take a underdeveloped or underwritten role and still make it good. Now, is this another example of is it because she doesn't have a really good actor to bounce off of? Because God bless them, the people in the hospital, they're nothing special. You know what I mean? She's
Well,
not
there's
with
hardly
Donald.
anyone there, too.
Well, yeah, and the doctor is drunk. But but see what I'm saying? Maybe she has no one to bounce off of. She doesn't really deal with Loomis until like the very, very, very end. And that's still Michael versus Dr. Loomis. It's not much of Laurie dealing with Loomis. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
think that proves that I think she's a better actress when she has someone with great chemistry like a Stacy Keach to bounce off of.
Right. And Gina's right. She just did Halloween 2 as a favor to Deborah and John. And
It
I
shows.
did it does show because she phoned it in.
Mm-hmm.
So now with Halloween 2, okay, yeah, she said, I enjoy this film because of Dr. Loomis. Jamie Lee Curtis didn't need to be in it till the end. I mean, I suppose they could have killed her off, but I think at that point maybe they just wanted her as the, because she thought she'd be the face. Well, she's even said she was kind of the face of Laurie Strode, so she felt like she
Mm-hmm.
kind of owed it to the franchise to be there and close out that chapter. Of course, she had no idea that they were, what was to happen next with Halloween 3,
Right.
which Halloween 3 ended up just being, I'm surprised that she actually did that voice role
I
for Halloween 3 because she
it,
just by the,
it's like two or three. It's 2 or 3 lines, and she probably just did it as a favor again because
that's a favor.
she
Okay.
respected what the Laurie Strode character did
Yeah.
for her career.
That makes
But yeah,
sense.
but the thing also with Halloween 2, no one wanted to be there. John Carpenter didn't want to direct it. He didn't even want to write it. He wrote that with Deborah getting drunk on a six pack every night, and he said that.
Yeah, he has.
And I mean, so it makes sense that she kind of phoned in that performance because John phoned in the story. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. I mean, outside of Dick Warlock being there, he was pretty awesome. I like Dick
mhm.
Warlock. Now, the next movie is near and dear to both of us. So we're skipping past age 3. We kind of talked about that. Hi, Doc. How's it
Hey
going?
Doc,
Thank you for checking it out. You actually have arrived at a really good time because this is a movie that both Eric and I love.
I
So
really really like this one. I really like
Halloween
this.
H2O, and I've actually I'll start by saying I know there's YouTubers that really will complain about this one because of the mask. And is it the best mask? No, probably not. But I enjoyed her performance in this.
I'll say this. I can overlook a bad mask. I love Halloween 4. That mask is awful.
Oh, that's atrocious.
That is awful. Everyone likes to crap on Halloween 5 because it looks like Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage is better looking than what we got in Halloween 4. Halloween 4 is taking the William Shatner mask and put it on a space heater and turning it on. That's a melted Michael Myers face. That's awful. I can get past the mask in this one. I can almost get past the fact that we could see his skin, because the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes. We've heard it 200 fucking times. You're not supposed to see skin under that. I can get past that. You know why? Because this is, and I've said it before, this is my favorite Laurie Strode. This is great. I do have some problems with H2O. I love the beginning. Well, let's just say I really like the beginning. When we're following the college kids, I don't care. I don't like them. I don't ever want to hear LL Cool J saying melon breasts again in my lifetime. But
He
that
was
finale,
such a great addition to the movie. So see, this is why it's great that Eric and I are talking about this movie because there's things that he loves and there's things that I love, and they don't always match up. I mean,
and that's fine. Again, if you love a movie and I don't, it doesn't affect me. I don't
right.
care. And then vice versa. But this finale, oh my God, is so good. And the thing is, because we're gonna get to some more Laurie Strode later, this is the best Laurie Strode. I buy the PTSD. I buy the trauma. I buy the love for her family in this one. You know what I mean? Hint, hint. Coming up later. I think, and again, we will bring this up. She was struggling with some stuff in her personal life. And I think she brought that to this type of Laurie who is struggling with pill abuse, with alcohol abuse. I think, a lot of times, well, I was going to say wrestlers, but wrestlers like with David Arquette and actors and stuff like sometimes they bring from that life and it shows on film. This is such a strong performance. This is so good in H2O.
Well, I feel like something that I had found online was that
Hmm.
she, and of course, we didn't know this at the time, but she had quite a bit of input and well, I mean, it was her idea to do H2O. She's the one that called her, "Hey, what do you guys think about doing 20 years later?" And how she's traumatized and so she had come up with this idea.
Hmm.
She wanted her to be traumatized. She wanted her to be leaning on alcohol to get through life.
Hmm.
And she wanted to be overprotective of her son, as seen in the image here.
As she would be, and again, that's what I said. She's again one of these actresses that if she has someone great to play off of, she brings it out. I'm I'm very Josh Hartnett is very hit and miss with me. Sometimes he's really good. He's pretty good in H2O. He's pretty good because again, he's playing off of Jamie Lee Curtis. Now, if it's something like The Faculty, I'm not a big fan. 30 Days a Night, he's fantastic in 30 Days of Night. So he's yes and no with me. You buy their relationship. She's the overprotective mother because of she's lost all of her friends due to this traumatic situation, this traumatic incident that happened 20 years before. Anybody would be overprotective of their offspring if this has happened. And again, that time of year is a trigger for her. That's what happens with trauma. Something triggers you and you're always going to be set off by that. But you know what? Josh Hartnett brings that, mom, I've been dealing with this for, I don't know when he was supposedly born, but almost 20 years. You know what I mean?
Oh,
You
and you see in
buy
the beginning, she's having this nightmare and he has to run and go get her meds for her. There's
exactly.
a
So,
like, all these meds that are in the medicine cabinet for all
mhm,
these like nightmares. It's like going down the rows of different
yeah.
pharmaceuticals.
And that's what shows how good of an actress is with Jamie, because this was Hartnett's first movie, I believe. She's bringing that performance out of him. You know
That's
what I
right.
mean? She's bringing that frustration. Like we've seen it in the trailer. We've seen it all the time. He literally said, Michael Myers is dead. He says it like that to her because he's like, God damn it, will you just listen and
Right.
realize I've been taking care of you when you should be taking care of me? And she's great with her little ticks. They have that argument. And when she's at the restaurant, and then she quickly guzzles that glass of wine, and she does, whether she means to be there or another, another. She's rude to the waiter or waitress unintentionally, but she has to cope. You know what I mean?
Yes.
She's so good in this. And again, I'm not trying to take over the stream bar, but when we get to that finale and she's in Mama Bear mode, oh my gosh, she blows 1978 away when she's trying to compared to taking care of these kids and compared to taking care of Lindsay and what's his name? Tommy. She's so much better in this. There is that frustration, there is that fear, but then at that point when she has, that's one of the most badass scenes in the entire franchise, when she's got that axe and she walks out into that parking lot, she just yells Michael's name. That's awesome. You know what
Because
I
she
mean?
wasn't afraid anymore.
And that's perfect because she goes from this person dealing with PTSD who's terrified, paranoid, kids, you can't, I love the scene where she finally gives him permission to go on the trip. Whether because he still stays home, but she doesn't want him to go away because he has to be with her on Halloween. I
And that's a
love that.
big deal for someone that's so traumatized like that, for her to put her feelings aside
Mm-hmm.
and say it's okay.
And that little smile she gives him when she gives him the signed permission slip or whatever. It's genuine. I love that little smile because she's happy. You know what I mean? For once in her fucking life, she's happy that her son gets to be happy.
Yeah,
You know
and
what I mean?
Patrick is right, she did have a lot more acting experience by the time H2O was filmed, and we're not even just talking about horror at this point, she had been
Oh
in a
yeah,
lot of other things.
yeah.
So, literally 20 years later of
Hmm.
having I mean, you think of any career, how you just get better with time.
Exactly.
So, you know, I'm gonna go forward for just a second and
No,
say
do
that
it.
when the David Gordon Green trilogy came out and I saw how she was, it made me feel a little differently about her role in H2O because she just seemed in the David Gordon Green trilogy, like she was just yelling all the time.
Yeah.
But then I went, wait a minute, she was yelling a lot in H2O too. Well, do I still like H2O now that I've seen how she was in that other trilogy? But happy to report that I rewatched it with what you said, because Eric said rewatch it. But this time, when you rewatch it, remember she was actually going through something in her life, going through
Yes.
alcoholism and trying to cope outside, just in the real world. So she kind
Hmm.
of brought that into her role. So I'm really glad that you said that because
She
it
was
did
not.
change how I looked at it
She
in
was
a good
not
way.
so. She was not sober when she made this. This came out in 1998. She's been sober since 1999. So that says something. You know what I mean? So again, she was using her own personal struggles to bring out this performance. And I think I hate to say it. We made the joke when you were on Patrick's channel. Stephen King was better when he was on the cocaine. You know what I mean? Jamie, I hate to say this, and I'm not trying to pick on her. I think because she was dealing with those demons and she was able to reach into that, she gave this performance because she's playing herself, for lack of a better term.
Yep.
I don't know about the PTSD. I don't know that much. What else? Any trauma she's been in her personal life. But when it comes to the abuse and the struggle, I bought it 100% because I think she's reaching out and just pulling from those little pieces of her life, and it shows. This is her best. I'll say this. Spoilers for this stream. This is her best performance in all of the movies, in my opinion, that we're going to discuss today, and that includes
Ooh,
that
excuse me.
includes your. Bless you.
Thank
This
you.
that includes Road Game, which was fantastic. You know what I mean? But she is so good in H2O.
I have to agree. For years, thinking this is the movie that I would watch at Halloween.
Hmm.
Sometimes, yes, I do go back to Halloween '78 because it's a classic.
Hmm.
Where no one's going to take anything away from it by saying that.
Sure.
So with H2O though, as someone who loved Scream when it came out in '96 and this came out in '98, it very much had that Scream vibe to it.
Yeah.
It was very '90s. If you go back and watch, just a handful of movies from the '90s, they all have a certain feel to it.
And Kevin Williamson, who wrote Scream, also wrote this, I believe, or at least he had his hand in the pot, helping with some of the dialogue. And you know what? That could be good or bad, depending on your personal taste. You know what I mean? This is a hell of a lot better than I Know What You Did Last Summer that he was involved in my
Yeah.
opinion. But this does have that some screamisms. You know what I mean? If lack of a better term. But in my opinion, this one was overall really, really good. It's just that middle part of the movie, and I think it's just because I don't really care for the characters. And
Well,
and then LL Cool J, me picking on him notwithstanding, he's fine. He really is. He's fine. I was just kind of picking on him for that one scene where he's reading that to his wife. The romance novel. It's just the other kids I don't really care about. Don't hate them. Don't care about them. They're just there,
yeah.
type of thing.
Well,
So.
and this begs the question too, the fact that she had a lot of input in this movie and
Mhm.
she really fought for it to have some kind of a completion at the end. And of course, we all know that resurrection came after, but we definitely feel like do you feel like since she had more say in this, that that's why her performance was better? Because I feel like it is.
I
She's
think
almost
so.
able to direct herself,
I
essentially.
I think so. I think she knew what she wanted to have the character go through. I think that again, because we kept saying, "Hi, Cheryl." I think that we kept saying that she's always been appreciative of the Laurie Strode character. She wanted to end that character because this was air quotes the end of the Laurie involvement in the franchise, whether Michael comes back or not. She wanted to end on a high note, and I think when she spoilers, but the movie came out in '98, and in '98 when she decapitates him, that's the perfect bookend to her novel. That's the
Yeah,
perfect way to close that novel of Laurie Strode.
and I
She
think
went
what
from
was so
this lady who was terrorized, who for however many years her son had to care for her, to now being this strong person who saves her son and Michelle Williams, to this lady who is able to end the trauma with that swing of the axe. That was perfect. for the
Yeah, and
character.
I think what's exciting about it is that she went into it saying, "Hey, I wanna close this chapter," and they were all for it until they realized, "Oh, yeah, so contractually wise, we can't really kill off Michael Myers," and she's like, "What?
Hmm.
Well, how do we do this then? Because I'm not in unless this is because that was the whole point of her being in this movie is she wanted it to have that feel like, "Hey, we have closed this chapter." And they said, "Okay, well, we're gonna make it to where the audience and you really do feel like this is over." And she says, "Okay." Because they didn't really I mean, at that point, they didn't know how they were gonna do the next movie.
Yeah.
So she seemed okay with that then. Okay,
Hmm.
if she thinks and the audience thinks this is the end of Michael, then she was okay staying in the movie. I'm like, "Okay,
Hmm.
good, because this we were lucky to get this
Yeah.
installment."
Yeah. It's. Yeah, I think this is honestly. I think this is an underappreciated chapter of that franchise. This franchise has a lot of ups and downs. It really does. All jokes notwithstanding, this is one of those where it's up there. You know what I mean? For me, it's not Halloween 4, it's not Halloween 3, but it's up there. You know what I mean? It's not Rob Zombie's H2. You and I have a special love for that one, but
Yes.
it's pretty fucking close,
Yeah.
to breaking that top three. You know what I mean? There might be one I like more than this. Maybe I like Kills more. I don't know, but those ones are neck and neck. This is definitely top five, regardless of where I would place it.
Absolutely,
But
and,
but again, this is the best Laurie Strode performance in the
in my
franchise.
opinion, yes.
Yeah, yeah,
You and I have, differences of opinion on some things, but this is where we are the
yes,
same.
yep,
Gina said she almost quit H2O when she found out about it not being definitive end to Michael, and that is true,
yeah,
100%. And she's even
yeah.
talked about that, on some interviews, so
And that's one thing I do want to say before we get to the next one, the next chapter. You should not blame this movie for a resurrection, how they explain it, because that's not this movie's fault. You know what I mean? And we'll get into that when we discuss the next movie. But I think this movie stands on its own, regardless of what comes next.
Gina, are you saying that they recorded it immediately after? I'm not sure about that. No, they didn't. 'Cause I'm gonna say H2O came out in '98, Halloween Resurrection was 2002. I had to think about that for a second.
Okay.
But in between H2O and Halloween Resurrection, she did a little movie that most people don't really think about, and that was Virus.
I never seen it. I knew of it because I've seen the poster many times. It's her and Billy Baldwin, and I think they're right above planet Earth or the ocean or something like that. It's a pretty generic floating heads
Right.
type of poster. And I honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I only knew of it because it's not looked upon fondly, including
Really?
by Jamie Lee Curtis. Like Jamie Lee is not fond of this movie.
And I am that's what confuses me because I actually liked it. It's a sci-fi horror, so it's a little different than her normal slasher type of movie roles.
Hmm.
She is on this ship with Donald Sutherland and, like you said, the Baldwin brother, and they're supposed to be taking some cargo, and the cargo something happens with the cargo, and it's, like, not attached anymore. They're in a storm, and the cargo snaps away from this boat that they're on, and now they learn that, oh, there's another big ship that's out there that's dead in the water, and they feel like if they can tow it back,
Hmm.
there's money to be made on this to get it
Okay.
back to the Russians. And so oh, yeah, Van Girl, she says, she's looking forward to the replay. Thank you,
Bye,
yes.
Cheryl.
Got a few other things to talk about, so hopefully that'll be interest to you, so but yes, Virus, I felt like that whole storyline was believable because, yeah, if you have a ship that's dead in the water, there's some money to be made on it. And Donald Sutherland, he always plays a villain role so well,
Oh God, oh man.
and that's what he
There's
is in this essentially.
There's
So
something about that family. Him and Kiefer can play the most twisted, evil individuals,
yeah,
and I think they're better when they're more reality based. Like, don't get me wrong, Donald is great when he's a villain. His is usually more real life based when it comes to his villains. Like even that cameo he has in Backdraft. He's terrifying in Backdraft as the pyro. Kiefer, we all know the Lost Boys, but when he is a real life villain, Stand By Me as Ace Merrill, or I hate to say it, Eye for an Eye, where he assaults and kills, Sally Field's daughter. Powerful movie. He is twisted
Oh, that
in
movie
that
was
movie.
really good,
It
though. Yeah,
was really good. There's that one scene that I always have to fast forward through. We know what scene it
yeah.
is because
You're
it's
a dad
supposed to,
too, so
yeah, it's supposed to be powerful and unnerving, but he is so disgusting and sick in that movie.
yeah.
There's something about that Sutherland gene. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Donald Sutherland, I just love him in just about anything. Because in Outbreak, I'm pretty sure he was the bad guy in Outbreak too, one of the bad guys.
The
So
only thing the only thing I can think of where he's not a bad guy, honestly, whether it's a comedy like
Invasion.
Yeah, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, or my go-to with my wife is Buffy the Vampire Slayer. We love with Christy Swanson because he's so out of place, but he's
Nice.
great. And that when I found out that he's actually in this film, Virus, that's why I said sometime tonight or maybe tomorrow I'm gonna find it this movie and I'm gonna watch it because I'm very interested. And the way you just described it, it reminds me a little because you haven't gotten into what happens after they find the truck or the ship. It reminds me of Ghost Ship with Gabriel Byrne and Juliana Margulies.
Oh,
If you ever
yeah.
seen that, that's another one of our go-to horror movies. So that's
One
what's
of
really getting me interested, at least into Virus.
Yes, I feel like anyone that has seen that now, granted, it's more sci-fi than paranormal. You see more of the paranormal, I suppose, in Ghost Ship.
Mhm.
But Ghost Ship, though, since you brought it up, one of the best intros of a horror movie,
Yes,
in my opinion.
yes, I
I was just
love
like,
it.
it's one that you want to rewind and then play it again
I saw
because you
Ghost
just
Ship in
believe.
theaters, lady. Oh my god, the gasp in that theater when it happens. I won't spoil it for people who haven't seen it because we're gonna add that to a specific list that Barb and I have going. You know what I mean? Because not enough people talk about Ghost Ship, but when that scene happened, me and my wife and we took my brother to see it, and you just hear that in the
Yeah,
theater.
because you don't realize at first what just happened
Exactly. Oh,
until you do.
yep. But
Okay,
I'm
so
gonna search for Virus tonight. I
yeah,
am.
Virus is I actually had to pay to rent it on Amazon, but I must have had, like, a credit in there, so it was only 99 cents to rent it. But Gina said it's a strange film, Virus, but I actually enjoyed it, and Jamie Lee Curtis is pretty good, especially bouncing off Sutherland, and I have to agree. I don't know why she thinks that this is a bad movie because is it a little dated? Yes. I mean, what's happening is virus, the reason why that ship is dead in the water is because something virus wise, like through the computer system, has happened. And now,
Hmm.
how do I put this in the best way? It's almost, it wants to create things. So it's creating this, it looks like a spider
Okay.
and it's all made of like parts from the ship. And I want people to watch it. So I'm going to give a little tiny bit away. It
Good.
wants them for human parts
Okay.
for
Okay.
to attach to these like like this spider thing or to attach to this walking what would normally look like the Terminator, but now they
Hmm.
want actual skin attached to it because of it just makes it that much better innovative for this. I'm trying to think of the wording,
It's
but it's
okay.
a good watch sci-fi wise because it's killing people off throughout the movie so that it can take them and
Hmm.
attach them to these all of these mechanical parts that it's been building on the ship.
So see, it kind of sounds like maybe a mixture of an AI driven body snatchers to me. That's what it sounds like. At least the way you're
Yeah,
describing it.
kind of, and it's really I think it's really good. That's why I
Hmm.
say I'm so surprised. When I was looking online to see, I wanted to find out what her thoughts were on each and
Hmm.
every one of these movies to see which one she liked, which one she didn't like. She didn't have anything really bad to say about Road Games. I think
Hmm.
because it was deviating away from the slasher type of thing and being more of a thriller suspense kind of
It's
movie.
rated PG of all things.
Right.
That's a PG rated movie, but it's really, really good. I looked in a little bit, and again, who gives a shit what the critics say? It critically bombed. I don't care. I couldn't find anything specifically why Jamie didn't like this movie, so I don't know if maybe it was a behind the scenes thing. Maybe if this was just a paycheck movie for her.
It was a paycheck movie for her. She did admit to that. And that's one thing. She's very transparent about movies. If she has a passion about something versus, oh, I
Hmm.
just did it for the money, she will
Hmm.
say that. And with this movie, she had the best character role in a way because she was the smartest one on the ship. When Donald
Hmm.
Sutherland was like, "Hey, this is easy money," she's like, "There's no such thing as easy money."
Hmm.
So just a line from the movie to say she is the smartest one. She doesn't want to go on this ship. She says it's not going to be as easy as they think it is. And at one point, she says, "Well, what if someone's alive on the ship?" And Donald Sutherland says, "Well, let's just not find anyone alive on the ship." And she's like, "Well, what does that mean?" He said, "Well, exactly what I said."
Hmm.
And so she's the one that's not afraid to go up against Donald Sutherland's character in this because he's the captain, and
Uh-huh.
she's just someone that's along. She's been paid just like the other people on this boat to come along with him and get this cargo delivered. So yeah, I think it's really good, and I hope I've sold people on giving it a chance and watching
Hmm.
it and finding it. I know it's not free, so it's harder to sell people on
Yeah.
that.
I'll
But
say I'll say this. Even if you got to rent it for $4, I know
yeah,
everybody in the horror community has spent more on less.
yeah. And
Okay.
she has a strong her character is strong-willed in this. There's
Hmm.
no damsel in distress at all.
Okay.
It's let's save ourselves and each other and let's get out of here. Let's find a way off of this ship. I
Hmm.
very much liked it.
Good.
And yeah, okay, so Gina just looked up. She says it's available on Amazon, Apple TV, and YouTube. Can't see it for free. Just looked. Yep.
I'll find it. I'll just leave it at that. But
Oh,
I'll say this. I'm the
he saw it
type
in
of guy.
theaters.
Oh, really? Russell saw it in theaters.
Yeah.
I'll say this. If I can find a movie, if I really enjoy it, you know me, Barb. I'll buy a physical copy. So I'll still support the movie that way. If I end
Oh,
up really
yeah.
enjoying this film, I know it's on Blu-ray. I mean, I know it's on DVD. If I really enjoy it, I will spend the money on it so I could have it in my collection.
And I was looking forward to talking about it because I liked her character so much in it, and I felt like it was a movie that was in the horror genre for her, but it
Hmm.
definitely wasn't one that she it wasn't one like 1978 Halloween where she's just struggling to get away from the killer.
Right.
It was like she's fighting back, she's
Hmm.
trying to
Kind of like H2O.
she's
She's fighting back.
right.
She's not running away. She's running towards.
Yeah, and the fact that she did this a year later right after
Hmm.
H2O, so she's kind of already
She's still kind of in that mood, I guess you would say,
absolutely.
when it comes to Curtis. You sold me. Like I said, I'm going to try to find it this weekend, and I'll
Good.
let you know either way. And if this is still something down the road that you want to discuss, I rewatched Prom Night for you. There's not a movie I told you that I won't watch to help you discuss, whether it's good or bad. So if you still want to discuss it later on down the road, I'm all game.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and something I wanted to bring up, I'm kind of going back up to what Gina said, that they recorded the start and the reason I'm bringing this one up is because the next movie is Halloween Resurrection.
Hmm.
So, she said they recorded the start of Resurrection at the end of it and kept it for the next one because Jamie Lee Curtis was contracted to be in it. She demanded to be killed off.
Hmm.
She just like, "I wanna be done."
Yeah. Okay.
And so that's kinda good information to have. I did not know that, and the fact that it came out 4 years later, that tells me that she did not go back into horror. 1999 was actually the end of it, not 2002 for a while,
Hmm.
because if they had recorded her bit, her part of it, and then finished
Hmm.
the rest of it later, 4 years later, because, I mean, that's not unheard of for movies to
Oh,
shelve things,
not at all.
but yeah, very, very good information there, and okay, Gina says she saw it on VHS. The cinema she worked at didn't usually get horror. She was in shock when they got Wes Craven, New Nightmare, and then Scream. Oh, cool. So the next movie on the docket, of course, is Resurrection. And yeah, people had stuff to say about that mask too, but we're not talking about the masks, are we? We're talking about
Right.
Jamie Lee Curtis, her
He's got the
character.
most. I'll tell you about Michael Myers has got the sexiest eyebrows in this movie. Oh my god, did he streamline those things? Jeez.
Eyebrows on fleek, as the kids say.
Good lord. Ah.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously she's only got a little bit of role here. Anyone that knows the franchise, she's just in the beginning.
Oh, this is a tough one for me because Resurrection has a lot of faults, but this is one I can return to a lot because again, it's the fun factor. Now, again, we're not talking about the movie so much because she's in this movie for the opening. It's less than 15 minutes, and she's on screen for maybe 10. You know what I mean? And it shows that she doesn't want to be there. It really does. And I'm not gonna pick on her for what they do
Right.
to the Laurie character. You know what I mean?
And
Because it's
she wasn't happy. This is worth mentioning, is she was not
yeah,
happy with how this movie turned out. I liked it. I think it's a fun movie.
that's what I'm saying. It has a fun factor to it. I
Yeah.
this not now to me. This is not a movie. This is just to shout out our Christmas episodes. This is kind of like Jack Frost 2. It's better to watch with a group of people. You know what I mean? Um, I don't really go to this one if I'm by myself, but if I'm doing a Halloween marathon, my wife wants to watch it, I'm there because we can have fun with this movie. You know what I mean? Have some friends over, beer and pizza. It's a fun movie. It's not great. It's a fun movie though, and as we've already said, that says a lot for rewatchability. You know what I mean? This is the first really fun movie since Terror Train, in my opinion. You know, there is a difference. We've said that, and I'm not going to fault her for what they do to the Jamie Lee Curtis or the Laurie Strode character in this because she makes some stupid mistakes, unforgivable mistakes in her sequence. But that's not Jamie Lee Curtis didn't write it. We're talking about her performances. This isn't an awful performance, but it's just kind of like Halloween 2. It's you can tell that it's just not in her to bring it out. She didn't want to be there. And now that I know what Gina said earlier, they filmed it and she didn't want to do it because of the contract thing. You could tell. It shows. You know what I mean? That first shot we see where she's supposed to pretend like she's drugged up in front of the nurses when they give the exposition on the
Oh,
in
hey,
the
Larry.
con hey Larry. They give the context like the of as dumb as it is, it fits in the tone of this movie. How they explained how Michael is still alive. I will always stand by that. As dumb as it is, it's air quotes believable. If
It
if
was
you can
believable. Yes.
if you can believe that Michael was controlled by a fucking cult, you know what I mean. You can believe how he survived this one. Stop it, guys. That notwithstanding, you can tell when that first shot we see her where she's holding the stuffed animal or whatever it is, and she's supposed to look drugged out. She looks miserable. She brought that. You could tell that wasn't acting. Jamie Lee was just like, "Hurry up, get this done," type of thing. You could really tell she's just like, "I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be here. How the fuck does Josh Hartnett get out of this? I shouldn't be here." But it is what it is. It's not an awful performance, but you can tell she's just like, "Man, I can't wait to cash that paycheck because it make this worth it." You know what I mean?
Well, did you see what Gina wrote? The same thing that you have been saying. Okay, so someone breaks through your door, stalks you all the way to the roof, and yet you're not sure if it's him. At least in the case of the paramedic, like, right. I mean, the paramedic, nobody knew it was the paramedic, but
Right.
also the paramedic wasn't doing, if you go back, it's kind of like Sixth Sense. You start thinking like, oh, okay, once you know the ending of Sixth Sense, you go back and you're like, okay, well, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the back of the paramedic vehicle, the ambulance, back of the
Mm-hmm.
ambulance, you see that he's trying to get out. Okay, these are all things that someone would do if their trachea was broken,
It
right?
may. I mean, it does kind of fit because sometimes, man, with this
Panicky.
timeline, trying to figure out why did she dump Jamie Lloyd, but she kept Josh Hartnett and faked her death and blah blah blah. If you put in the effort, you can kind of make it work. You can kind of make it work. Why the fuck is Michael reaching out to her at the end of H2O? Because motherfucker, it's not. I'm
It's
not
not
Michael.
him.
You know what I mean? That makes sense. But
That
like with
poor guy under the mask is like, oh my God, will you help me?
you know what I mean? If they already knew that, he should have just been like, you know what I mean, miming something. As dumb as it is, we can make that work. But
Yeah.
when she walks over to the dude who's hanging upside down, and he does the tries to take off the mask. Oh, I gotta see. He just busted through your door like the Kool-Aid man and is chasing you around up to the roof. He's gonna kill you regardless of if Michael or not.
Right. That's what
Drop
I
him to the
said.
ground.
I don't care if it's not Michael Myers. This dude just tried to get at you, and you're just gonna let him live if it's not Michael Myers. Are you kidding me?
Idiot. But Jamie Lee didn't write that.
That's right.
So I'm not gonna fault her for that. But performance-wise, which is what we're talking about for the most part in this stream, he's just there. You can
Yeah.
tell she didn't want to be there. It's just all right, cut, perfect. I'm not even going to change my clothes. I'm getting in my car and I'm going home, type of
Yeah.
thing. You can tell, and it shows in the performance.
Oh yeah. And I mean, after Resurrection happened, we didn't get anything again until David Gordon Green got this bright idea to do the trilogy. Now, let me just say, there are parts of the trilogy that, I mean, there are so many movies that I will buy digitally,
Mm-hmm.
and I did end up buying Halloween and Halloween Kills. I don't know if I have Halloween Ends, but
I've got,
it was one
I've,
year when it was like right after Halloween to
mm-hmm,
where, during Halloween, some movies you can find them streaming, and then
mm-hmm,
as soon as October 31st ends, you don't see those movies on that streaming app anymore.
right.
That's what happened in this case. So I was like, screw it. I'm buying them on digital
Mm,
so that I
yeah.
have them. But
I've got all three on DVD, but we all know my problem when it comes to being a completionist. It is what it is. Oh boy, here we go. Here we go. I got butterscotch pudding right now to give me the energy for these fucking movies. You know,
it's all
this is
been leading up to the trilogy.
I gotta eat me spinach right now to talk about this mess. But go right ahead, Barb.
Anyone that is still with us this long into the,
God bless you.
I had a feeling this would be a 2-hour stream, and I even said to Eric, this could potentially go long
No, I'm
because,
fine.
getting through
I got my pudding. I'm good.
her,
Go right ahead.
getting through some of her early stuff and then getting out to this, it made me realize, kind of rewatching some of this, that really I didn't have a problem with Jamie Lee Curtis truly until we got to this trilogy, if I'm being fair. Ah, yes. Okay, so Patrick feels the same way we do. Oh, look, Sarah Connor.
No,
Haven't I mentioned
no.
this?
Sarah Connor was cool. Okay, stop it.
But
We'll get there.
but this is what I thought of. And there was something I'll mention about the movie. I know it's not about the movie, it's about her character. But I
To
also
be
have
fair.
to mention Danny McBride can kick rocks.
Oh God.
Because he is partially to blame for why her character was like this. We've talked about this, and yeah, he was part writer on this. So I mean,
here's the thing.
Russell, Sarah Connor / Rambo. Yeah,
No, Rambo was cool. I could buy that. Here's the thing, and again, I'm not gonna try. Oh man, we'd be here for fucking 4 hours if we're talking about the movies. Her character, like the way she's written, notwithstanding, she's an unlikable character. Here's the thing.
It's not believable to me. I'm going to just say it.
We've seen this before.
Yeah.
We've seen this before. Her turning to alcohol. We've seen this before. Her family is frustrated and wants nothing to do with her. You know what I mean? We've seen this before. The trauma. That was her. That was like the Pee-wee's Playhouse word of the day. You know what I mean? When she was going through from interview to interview. This is about trauma. You were perfect in H2O. What the fuck happened over 20 years? You know what I mean? Regardless of how her character is written, I don't think her performance is good at all in this. I don't buy the breakdown at the dinner. I don't buy the breakdown when she's crying in her car. And this is another perfect example. And I don't like this movie for many reasons. And if you love it, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with enjoying this. Danny McBride can do more than kick the rocks. He can kick them and then he can stumble down the hill afterwards. He's awful with the way he writes these characters. This isn't fucking super bad, Danny. Okay, stop it. But when it comes to Jamie Lee's performance, you can tell this was for the money. This was all three films in my. Like, I don't know how we're discussing this, if we're just doing the trilogy in general or if we're doing this one specifically, but you can tell she did not want to be there. She perfectly closed that book in H2O, and regardless of that bad epilogue to the novel, you know what I mean, in Resurrection, the Laurie character ended for the most part gracefully. Here, I don't buy her love for her family. I don't buy the trauma. I think that might be in part to, you know what, Michael is not as scary anymore. You know what I mean? If you take out everything after the first film, he's only killed like what, 4 people, maybe 5, counting the truck driver or whatever. My math is off. It's 5
Yeah.
or less. Who cares? You know what I mean? Especially
Oh yeah.
not trying to say anything, but in 2018, who cares? You know what I mean? He's not as dangerous, in my opinion. Okay. Again, well, what if he didn't break out, 40 years later? All this waiting was for nothing. She's not a good character. She had her family taken away. People overlook that. She's not a good mom because of this obsession. I get it. It's realistic sometimes. But she just doesn't give 2 shits in this. I think like she tries to be tough. I don't buy it. She gets the screaming back, but it's more like forceful, like angry. And again, I don't buy it. I really, really don't like this version of Laurie at
Well,
all.
what Gina had said that she likes the trilogy, but she doesn't like Laurie, and she doesn't know if that makes sense. It
Yeah,
absolutely makes sense because
yeah.
that's why I do like the trilogy,
Uh-huh.
including Hollywood. I was going to say Hollywood. Hollywood ends. Nope, it's Halloween ends. Hollywood does end. No.
That's right.
Uh,
I wish sometimes.
But yeah, I feel like the movies themselves, there are
Mm-hmm.
many things in the movies that I like. I like that it modernized things so
Mm-hmm.
that, like you have said, remake everything. This
Mm-hmm.
is something that people can enjoy of the younger generation too.
Mm-hmm.
And it's more brutal, as we had seen in Halloween Kills, more brutal, more kills, all of that than
Mm-hmm.
what you see in some of the earlier installments. And so there's a lot to like in the trilogy. If you,
We have a great Michael in 2018.
oh my gosh,
100%.
James Jude Courtney was freaking amazing.
He is my number 2
Amazing.
Michael under Tyler Mane. He is
Yeah.
really good in this film. My problems, honestly, notwithstanding, as a whole with this film, isn't Michael. It isn't the violence. The fact that he takes out a kid, that's scary. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? This is a Michael with no filter. I like the danger. I don't like the characters. I don't like the way they're written. I don't like what Danny McBride ruined peanut butter for me. If you know, you know. You know what I mean? When you got the
Yeah.
overweight kid who's trying to make out with Laurie's granddaughter, oh, don't let me die with a boner here in the
Oh, I was
in the
so
lawn.
mad.
Stop. No
You
one
know,
talks on like that.
this is a
Stop.
movie that when I was at the theater, I drove all the way to Eau Claire to watch this at the theater with my friend. We were so excited. And
Mm-hmm.
I do feel bad in hindsight because we got out of the theater and I said, I'm really kind of disappointed in it because they
Mm-hmm.
put some of these scenes in with humor, like the guy saying, the dad saying, "Oh, because he dropped peanut butter on his pants, on his crotch area," and he was like, "Oh, drop some peanut butter on my penis." Well, guess what? Unless your penis is hanging out of your pants, you dropped it on your pants, not your penis.
I have a
Spicy and
13 I
hanging.
have a 13-year-old daughter. I'm not going to say that in front of her. I'm like, I would
Right.
say shit. I dropped peanut butter all over my fucking pants. If you want to
Th-
be vulgar in an
Right.
R-rated movie, that's how you would say it. And
That's why I
I told you
said,
I love Toby Huss. I love that actor.
yeah.
Oh, I'm just like, that was one of those moments. I'm just like, mm. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Just
and
stop it.
that's exactly why I say that part has Danny McBride written all over it. I
Yeah.
I can't see that being from David Gordon Green, but he doesn't get off the hook either because he allowed
No.
it.
He's got final say.
So,
He's got final say. I will say this: I've watched this numerous times. when this movie first came out, I did a video which is no longer up because I took it down because it just the negativity. I just got tired of the notifications because sometimes this is me. My views don't necessarily represent Barb or Fear the Talking Heads. I do think sometimes Halloween fans are sometimes the hardest bunch to get along with in the horror community when it comes to likes and dislikes. I didn't give two craps about Halloween 2018 because I said we've seen it before 20 years ago with H2O. I don't care that Jamie Lee Curtis is coming back. Um and then I did not see it in theaters. Again, me being the completionist, I bought it on DVD and I watched it and I did not enjoy it. But since then I've rewatched it numerous times for other people's channels and for podcasts and stuff like that. And I've grown to appreciate David Gordon Green a little bit more behind the camera, but I still don't enjoy the film. I still don't enjoy the film because the characters are so awful,
And I
in my
think in
opinion.
time that could change for both of us. You know
It's,
what I
it,
mean?
it
Like
can. It really can.
20 2018, but that's also saying that her daughter, Judy Greer, I didn't like her in that position either. I was just like, I think that it could have been a better, granted, her character arc, going from that over to Halloween Kills. I liked her better in Halloween Kills, I will say.
Hmm. Hmm.
But, I, like you said, the characters that were in this, I think made a big impact. But if we're looking at just her character,
Hmm.
how she handles things, granted, a lot of it is direction. You're getting it from the director, but I just felt like she was just yelling a lot. Now, if I
Hmm.
had Rachel on here, you guys know Rachel McDonald, if I had her on here, she would defend Lori because we did an episode talking about
Hmm.
Halloween Kills and she made me laugh. Rachel made me laugh on this because
She's
she brought
fun.
up because because she said, she's so unhinged that it's kind of funny. And I said, "You know what? I need to rewatch it with that in mind of kind of
Hmm.
picking fun, just making it more of she's of saying Laurie Strode is being so ridiculous." That kind
Right.
of thing, and to enjoy it a little bit more going into it, knowing people don't behave like this. And I don't believe that she would have turned into this, after, because you have to think this is coming off of, it's supposed to be canon wise directly after kind of like 1978.
Correct.
40 years later.
Yeah.
And do we really think, oh, she was attacked this one time.
Hmm.
Now she's turned into like Sarah Connor for all these years because of this one incident that happened? I realize that people handle trauma differently.
Correct.
Do we really believe this?
I mean, it's also, but that's just, in my opinion, that's bad writing. I mean, like I said, you're waiting 40 years. What if, what if we all know, you can't kill the boogeyman, whatever. What if he died before he got that transfer? It was all for nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And sure, after trauma, we saw Sarah Connor pump up in the asylum and stuff like that and get scary. She ain't no Sarah Connor. I don't give a shit. You can shoot a couple mannequins. That doesn't make you Sarah Connor. I don't care. You're not John Wick. I don't care about your little MacGyver Home Alone traps in your house. It doesn't work. I don't buy it. And it could be because, like I said, we've seen, in my opinion, the lackluster performance in part 2 already. We've seen the great performance in H2O already. So she should know how to handle this character, even though she's supposed to be stronger, I guess, in this version. Why don't we get it? Why
Well,
don't we get it?
and Eric, I'm going to just say this because I don't know if this had any impact on why I felt the way I did about her character. But
Mm-hmm.
by this time, we had all known she didn't like horror.
Mm-hmm.
And so in my mind, I was kind of thinking throughout this, giving it a chance, because obviously I was excited to go see it at the theater,
Mm-hmm.
but also feeling like, but she doesn't like horror, so why did she take this role? You know what I
Well,
mean? And then seeing her in it and feeling like this isn't believable to me just had me leaving the theater feeling like this really bums me out. Now, granted, later on when I watched it at home when it was on streaming, I felt a little differently about it. I felt better about it.
mm-hmm.
But in that moment, when you see a movie at the theater, if you don't feel excited while you're watching it, that really says a lot because it's
Mm-hmm.
cinematic, it's huge, it's in your face. If you're not gonna like it then, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. But I also look at it this, regardless whether she likes horror movies or not, she's an actress. An actor's got to act. She should be able to still be professional and bring that performance. You know what I mean? I guarantee you, there's some people that are really good at drama that don't give two shits about dramatic movies. You know what I mean? So
Right.
I think whether she liked horror movies or not, this movie was about trauma. This movie
Yeah.
was about trauma. We get it, Jamie. Chill out. Bring that to it. I didn't get any of the trauma. I got a lot of I hate the world. I'm just grumpy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is all she needed to me, she reminded me of like Clint Eastwood, minus, the negativity, towards races on Gran Torino. She just needed just to be sitting on her porch drinking a beer and just grumbling at everybody who walked past her. You know what I mean? She because she was just a grumpy. I don't mean this derogatory. She was just a grumpy old lady. She
Yeah.
really was, and I didn't buy anything else from her. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
again, if we've seen it before, we know what she can bring to the table. And she's bringing it to the table, and she trips, and the food falls on the floor. That's what it was to me.
And Russell, I guess you're right, but okay, so he says, "Well, why would you trap the boogeyman in your house if you know he's gonna get out?" I don't think she did think he was gonna get out.
She
I thought
didn't.
she
That's why
she
she.
said
That's
he
why
was
she
gonna
burnt.
burn.
She's yeah. That's why she set it on fire. But that's not her writing. That's an old that's the
Right.
old Danny McBride or whoever else, because there's more than just
Yeah.
him writing on it. You know what I mean? So
It's so hard sometimes to try to separate, okay, this was what was written for the character, and then
yeah.
this is what the character actually did and how she
Hmm.
performed it. So
Right.
you say, okay, her job in this role is to protect her daughter, protect her family, and how is she going to do that? And does she
Hmm.
make us believe it? And that's the thing, is I didn't believe it.
Right.
I
That's the
didn't
problem.
believe it, I liked Judy Greer's spot where the "Gotcha," I
Hmm.
liked that.
There were some good moments in this movie. There were
Yeah,
in 2018, but I don't like 2018. I think the main reason why I don't like it, okay, peanut butter and fat kid dying in the grass, notwithstanding, I don't Laurie Strode, and that's the problem. If we're the big deal is Michael's out, Laurie Strode, it's going to be one on one. I don't care about her character in this, and that's if that's the selling point, and you can't sell me on it. I'm not going to enjoy the film. You know what I mean? I might like some side characters, which I don't really. That's the problem with this film. And I think when we get to Kills, she has a better performance. I like Kills. You know what I mean? We get a better performance in Kills. You know why? Because she's working off of the actor who plays the police officer. They're in the hospital together. They're good. They're really good with each other in that film, and that's why I think she gives a pretty decent performance in Halloween Kills. That's just my opinion. I think with her, that's perfect. Less is more when it comes to the Laurie Strode character in this trilogy. So that's just my opinion. I think that when she has someone good to act upon, again, we've said it, it brings it out, and she was really good.
could you tell that you lost me for a second there?
A little bit, so that's why I was stumbling a little bit. So, but again, I'm like Jamie Lee Curtis. I'm better when I have someone to flow with. Barb, where'd you go? I can only hang out in this hospital bed so much
But
by
listen,
myself.
Eric is a professional, damn it, that's why he carried it.
You get what you pay for with me, lady.
But yeah, I feel like that's a movie that the entire trilogy I will still go back and rewatch, which says a lot about the fact that it's part. You know how you said you're a completionist?
Hmm. Yeah.
There's always going to be some movies that I still go back and rewatch. There's going to
Hmm.
be like the Thorn trilogy. I'm less likely to go back and watch those, whereas this trilogy, I feel like it has enough
Okay.
to grab me,
Hmm.
so to speak. And 2018 versus, Halloween Kills. You and I have discussed this. Like Halloween Kills is my favorite
Hmm.
of the bunch.
Hmm.
And is that because she was in it a lot less? I
Maybe
mean, could that potentially be why?
it's possible, but
But
you know what? Then there's also Halloween Ends. I put Halloween Ends above 2018. You know what I mean? People are just. I understand their frustrations with it. I really do. I got no problem with the Corey character. You know what I mean? I buy his trauma more than I bought Laurie's in 2018. I'm not gonna lie, I'll die on that hill. But again, Laurie is just so unlikable. Man, she sure got over her daughter's death pretty fucking quick, didn't she? In between those movies, she's now happy and burning the roast and carving pumpkins and trying to get her daughter laid. You know, within that span, that scene where she digs her hands in the pumpkin seeds, and that's such a cringy scene. Again, I don't buy her performance, and you know what? Maybe the impact of COVID, you know, with that trilogy, might have impacted the fact that, you know, they now have to rush to get this movie out, type of thing. I get that, but still, you're an actress, and this isn't your first movie. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? You've had all these years to, you know, this character, Jamie Lee Curtis. What you, if you're watching, you know this character. You know what I
Right.
mean?
So I did feel like, I have kills up on the screen. This is that one of the hospital scene here. I thought she did fine in the hospital scene. Granted, she didn't have as much to do with this middle movie, but I liked what they had her, the communication with her and Will Patton's
Yeah,
character, like Gina had said, love Will Patton. Will Patton has not been in anything and done a terrible job, in my opinion.
he's always
And
great.
so, like you were saying earlier, that sometimes it depends on who you're bouncing off of in a scene if you're also going to be good.
And
So,
one of my favorite scenes in Ends, and it's she's decent in it, I think, because she's trying to be, is when they're trying their best. These are two old people that don't know what they're doing, and they're in the shopping market flirting with each other. I love that scene when they're flirting. Will Patton is doing his best, trying to be like, "Hey, you want to come over for dinner?" type of thing. I love your hair, and as dumb and goofy as she does that stereotypical ha ha ha, you know, hair twirl type of thing. I bought it because she's supposed to be awkward.
yeah.
That's what I liked. But the rest of the movie, when she's trying to be, "Oh, Corey, I'm going to get you. Stay away from my granddaughter," type of bullcrap. You know, when she's leaning back on that chair when she confronts him, stop, stop. I just don't buy the performance.
Yeah.
The movie notwithstanding, I'm not gonna lie. I liked the confrontation. I liked the final confrontation. I like how Michael was taken out. Again, these are two people up there in age fighting each other. This ain't gonna be the fucking Matrix or Bruce Lee or anything like that. What do you expect? She got lucky. She pushed the refrigerator on him and she bled him out. Believable. Now, when she hitches him up to the top of the fucking car and they have this, you know, like a deer, they have this funeral march, that's garbage. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie, her performance in Ends is cringy for the most part. That scene in the supermarket doesn't save it with me. But again, I love at the very end when they're her and Will Patton are on the porch. You know what I mean? She gets her
Yeah.
flowers. That's great. But I'm not gonna lie, the way this Lori character is in these three movies, and I told you before, when she throws him in that grinder, I kind of hope that she tripped and fell in after him. I did not like the Lori character in this
I
trilogy.
have said this before, and I know that to some people that's probably a hot take, but I wanted them both to be done.
Yeah,
So it's funny because in the past, when she's had a little more input on things, and I think she had some input in this, she wanted it to be where she finally defeats Michael Myers. This was her chance to finally do it.
yeah, exactly.
This was her shot at it, and I'm still surprised that they allowed it, since there
I,
was such a contractual thing to keep Michael Myers from officially being
who
dead.
who fucking knows? He could have been, you know, everyone likes to poke at you know, Halloween 2 Hobo Myers. You know, he could have just been some random hobo that found the mask and then in Halloween kills, you know, and Halloween ends again, that we get in like 2 years. It was the wrong Michael. Who knows? Maybe this hobo who was, you know, hanging out in the sewers, maybe he, you know, lost his trachea or something. He smoked too many cigarettes and he couldn't tell Lori that it's the wrong Michael. I don't know. It could be something stupid like that when it comes to Hollywood. Michael isn't gone. He's coming back. We all know it, but I
Well,
just didn't like this Lori character at all.
I had, and I want to ask the chat this, how you guys truly felt about the ending. This is so weird because I actually felt like a sadness
Mm-hmm.
at the end of it when you knew, okay, he's turned into hamburger meat.
Hmm.
I felt a sadness, and maybe that's because we had so many years of him actually being the boogeyman that can't be killed, and to have her still alive and he's not alive, and I I thought it would have just been so fitting for them to both fall in, like you said. Maybe that makes me a bad person. I don't know.
Well, it does, Barb. You're awful.
I'm sorry.
I think it would have been better, honestly, if maybe Michael got the butcher knife into her during the kitchen scene, but she was still able to say, knock the refrigerator on her, knock the refrigerator on him, bleed him out, and then she passed away in the kitchen with him. Don't hold hands. Don't do none of that sappy stuff, but just like maybe go to the porch, sit on your rocking chair, and then pass away that way. I would have been okay with that. But when you have that fucking funeral march and the little kid from 2018 that everyone seems to like for some reason, or you got the sheriff trying to do his best Creighton Duke impression, bro, you didn't do nothing in those movies. Stop. No one cares about you. When they had this, like, you ever see Harry and the Hendersons? I was thinking about like when John Lithgow was driving and you got Bigfoot tied to the top of his car, and I'm just waiting for him to wake up. It was unnecessary. It was awful. And I think it was too much to put him in the grinder. I really do. You know, if he would have just died right there on the kitchen table, that would have been satisfying. That's the right word.
Yeah, Larry says, so he dies and she dies shortly after.
Or as she throws her in the grinder, he's not dead. Grab her by the collar, pull her in.
You're coming in with me, lady.
Yeah, exactly. You know, Jamie Lee Curtis dies tonight. Evil dies tonight. All that stuff. But I don't know, man. I don't know what her problem was with this trilogy. I don't know if she didn't like the writing, if it literally was just for the money. But
I think it was just, yeah, it was just for the money. They said that she offered her a lot of money to come back. And so, I will give it this. All the marketing where it showed her in the blue original 1978 shirt and with, I think I'm trying to think the picture. It showed her laying this way and him laying this way or something. Do you remember
they're
that?
I know the poster. They're back to back, and she's holding a knife or something. I didn't like
Yeah.
that poster because that looks like it's Halloween meets Lethal Weapon. That's a buddy cop poster. You know what I mean? They should have put Halloween ends. I'm too old for this shit on that poster. But that's just me.
Oh my gosh.
That's just me. Um, yeah, and that is disheartening when she admits that she did it for the money. It really is disheartening
Yeah.
because again, she's always said, John Carpenter gave me a career. I started in this. She always said, I started in this little indie movie called Halloween. So you're proud of this character. Why would you admit just taking it for the
Well,
money?
okay, in her defense on this one, she
Mm-hmm.
did say that Lori character did mean a lot to her.
Yeah.
So I guess both can be true. She was paid a boatload of money, but also really wanted to see this character, Laurie Strode, get that resolution of having no more Michael
I,
Myers in her life.
I,
She's wanted this actually since H2O, remember?
I know. I don't know. I don't know what to think. Like I get it. The last time we saw her on screen, she fell for the oldest trick in the book. Again, Kool-Aid Man tried to kill her, and she had to make sure. I get that. The last time we saw Laurie on screen was they did an injustice to the character. They really did. They made her seem stupid. I will say that they made her seem stupid falling for that trick. She should have known better. But if you're still giving a very bad performance in 3 films, that's inexcusable, in my opinion. That's inexcusable, regardless of and whoever's hands were in the pot, regardless of COVID, screwing up a lot of the release schedule and production and all that. Regardless, you had 3 films to at least, like, even if, let's just say, even if I hated you in 2018, which I do, Jamie, I do. You still have 2 films to win me over. No, you stay like that, and then I didn't care. I didn't care by the end. I didn't want Laurie Strode to die at all. But I'm just like, I
Yeah,
just don't
and
care about this character. I really
I
don't.
I feel like Halloween 2 and this trilogy were probably the weakest for me, if I'm being completely honest, of her horror projects.
Her worst is Prom Night. Her worst is Prom Night for me.
You think so?
Oh God, yes. Oh, I'll still watch this trilogy if I have to. Like if I have to do a marathon, and then like let's just say someone wants to do a marathon, I'll just say which fucking timeline do you want to follow? I won't fight this trilogy because Kills is in there. You know what I mean? I'm like,
Well, I will watch it, but I feel like it's her weakest in those characters, though.
okay, as the
Yeah,
Lori, yes,
yeah.
yes, but
Movie-wise is a whole different thing, but I feel
okay,
like character-wise,
as Lori, I think
yeah.
her,
She was
I
just
think she,
best in H2O.
the best Lori is H2O. The worst, in my opinion, is 2018. And the reason why is her character is changing. Character is changing, as goofy as she fucking is sometimes with the pumpkins and stuff like that in Ends, or barely being in it in Kills. Her character is changing through that trilogy.
Yeah.
I don't like her in 2018. She's fine in Kills. There's a little bit I like her in Ends, so that says a lot. You know what
But
I
now,
mean?
you remember when I said to you that I feel like she was just acting, she wasn't really acting, it was just Jamie Lee Curtis yelling all the time?
Yeah.
I felt like she didn't really bring anything to 2018.
Mm-mm.
I do believe her when she has said in interviews that she wanted to see that storyline come to a close officially the way she always wanted to. I do believe her. I don't dispute that, but I also feel like it's like she almost forgot how to play Laurie Strode. Does that make sense when I say that?
I mean, it's possible because again, remember the first film came out in '78. Well, I don't know. I don't know because you know what? It's 20 years later, H2O. Regardless that part 2 came out in 1981, you still had basically the same amount of time in between that and H2O than H2O and H4O, whatever we want to call it, you know what I mean? You shouldn't forget. You
Yeah.
shouldn't. That's just
Yeah.
my opinion. This is your character. This is the character you're also proud of. You know what I mean? If it
Yeah.
was just a character you didn't care about, if this is Prom Night H4O, you know what I mean? I get it. You know this character like the back of your freaking hand, and you just dropped the ball.
And I feel that there are other actresses in the horror genre that do take it as they've been pigeonholed and they just kept it. She's one that got away from it and
Mm-hmm.
she's come back on her own terms, and I can appreciate and I can respect that. There are others out there that have said that I've interviewed on, even Scarefest TV that have outright said, I don't like horror. I don't like being scared, but they'll continue. They
Mm-hmm.
don't mind scaring other people. Does that make sense? So they don't, hey, I'll go
Absolutely.
to work and I'll scare other people, but I personally don't watch movies. They'll say, I don't watch horror movies. That's not something that I find to be
Mm-hmm.
comforting.
Absolutely.
Just sit
Makes
back and
100. Excuse
yeah,
me, but that's what I mean by you're an actor. You're being paid
right,
to act. Bring it. You always should be at the whether your skills are good or not. That's apples and oranges, for a person's opinion. But when you can tell that person is not giving their all, even if God bless some of these actors when they're giving their all and you're like, ooh, you were in the wrong profession.
right,
That's one thing. If that effort is there, I can respect that at least. Sh- She's not bringing it in this
yeah,
trilogy, and it shows. And again, this is me. Eric's views don't necessarily reflect Barb's views. I think that because she's Laurie Strode, she gets that pass in the
right.
horror community.
Because of who her
God,
mother was and
well,
Psycho and yeah,
exactly. Janet Leigh is a fantastic actress. How many movies of hers did you see? I saw Psycho. Well, then how do you really know?
right,
You're giving her that pass. Jamie Lee Curtis was Laurie Strode. They get that pass. Well, guess what? Sometimes she's not a good Laurie Strode.
right.
There's nothing. You can still absolutely love the character. You can love anything, but you kind of gotta acknowledge when they don't bring it. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, and
I mean, I don't like to to sound like your favorite term, or I'm your favorite curmudgeon. You know what I mean? But That's is what it is. I really do think sometimes because she is considered horror royalty because she was in the first Halloween. If her first movie was Prom Night, I don't think anyone would be given two craps. You know what I
No,
mean?
you're absolutely right on that.
But because she
Yeah,
was Laurie Strode, and that is an iconic character, no matter who plays it, whether it's Jamie or Scout. You know what I mean? It's an iconic character, and I think that gives her a buy. And
right.
that's why we're doing this stream, at least for mine and your opinion, underrated, just fine, or overrated, however you want to word it. I think she gets an unfair pass, in my
Right.
opinion.
And I think and thank you to everyone in the chat for being really cool about us,
Yes.
discussing this because I
Hmm.
I know that I know that Jamie Lee Curtis is very dear to a lot of people in the horror
Hmm.
genre. I don't want to take anything away from that. And neither
No,
does Eric.
and that's why I want people to understand I'm not trashing Jamie Lee as an actress, and I don't want anyone to think I'm trashing you if you put her in that,
Right.
if you put her on that pedestal. Go for it.
We had come up with this list. Eric and I have a list of people that we want to go into, whether it's actors or actresses, underrated, overrated, people that we feel need maybe, because the underrated, we have quite a few people in that
Mm-hmm.
list as well that we feel we need to talk about them because we don't feel like
No one
they
ever
are
does.
they are in the spotlight as much as
Mm-hmm.
they really should be. And
Mm-hmm.
so we're really excited about sharing those. We're kind of looking ahead of the future. I've talked to Eric and he has said that he could do every other week, or we're going to really try to do every other week.
Yeah.
So, uh, I think we're going to try for every other Friday, 9:15 Central Standard Time. So I know that's
Okay.
kind of late for some people in the chat, but I do feel like that's going to be a really good timing because it's like a like an after party for Scarefest TV, which I
Yeah.
highly recommend everyone take a look at that. Go to Scarefest TV and give that channel a like as well,
Mm-hmm.
because there's a lot of interviews on there for different. If you search the archives too, you're going to see people on there like Beatrice Bubley and
Yes.
Melissa Rose, and coming up January 30th, Lachlan Monroe. I'll be hope all fingers crossed everything still goes well with his schedule. I'll be interviewing him along
Mm-hmm.
co-hosting with Wes. So it's a really good channel to keep track of as well. And that one runs from 8 to 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. So I just thought, how cool would that be if I could have something here, every other Friday with Eric and like an after party,
Yeah,
to
that's
discuss.
you know what, folks, all you youngins out there who want to go out to the bars and party, save your money. Get yourself a six pack of beer, turn on the computer or turn on the TV, and then just have fun with Barb and I late night on a Friday. Trust me, it's a lot
Yeah,
better. It's a lot safer. And like I said, there is, there we have a long list of actresses we
we
want to
do.
talk about.
We're gonna be
And
busy for a while.
no, um, I'm kidding, but but with the underrated actors and actresses, everybody talks about. And this isn't knocking on them. When you go to the horror community, everyone talks about who's your favorite actor and actress. It's always
Sigourney,
Jamie Lee
yeah,
Curtis. It's always
yeah.
Jamie Lee Curtis, Sigourney Weaver. She's my queen. You know what I mean? It's always Heather Langenkamp. Why? Don't know. That's just me. It's always Nev Campbell. We're not gonna. I'm not gonna say who's on the list. You know what I mean? But there's these people that are in the horror genre, and nobody brings them up. But when you mention their name, oh my God, I love her. Oh my God, I love him. You know what I mean? So we want to kind of break away from the pack and be
Right.
like, remember this person was in that, and then she was in that, or this guy was in that. When we did the thing, Zach Galligan, he did more than Gremlins, and
That's
I
right.
think we did a good job promoting Waxwork 1 and 2. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
that was actually a really fun episode, and it was fun to go in and edit as well to put that B-roll in there because I still run into people who have never seen Waxwork 1 or 2, and the fact that they were just like polar opposites essentially is
Waxwork 2 is the perfect sit down. Like I said, beer and pizza. Oh my God, I had a blast watching that one. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
okay, but before we end this, Barb, we
mhm.
didn't say your opinion, Barb. Fear the talking heads. Pressure's on. Underrated, just fine, or overrated? after we were here, we've been here for almost 2.5 hours, Barb.
Yeah.
What is your
I
opinion on Jamie Lee Curtis going through this horror filmography?
I
As of right now, it can change later. As
yeah,
of right
I would
now.
say I have a two-part answer to that. I
Okay.
would say for movies like that came after Halloween, I don't think she was overrated at all, my
Okay.
opinion. But the movies like The Fog, Terror Train, Prom Night, being that it was only a short time after and they were still kind of saying Scream Queen, I just don't know. I'm a
Yeah.
little undecided. I feel like maybe, yeah, overrated on those.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I feel like overrated on the David Gordon trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
David Gordon Green trilogy, I feel like that could have gone a different route. We didn't really need Jamie Lee Curtis in that. I'm glad for her that she got the ending that she wanted, that she's been wanting since Halloween H2O. She has
Mm-hmm.
been wanting it. I'm glad for her. But I feel like there's so many other people that are in our underrated list that I'm really excited to talk about.
Oh yeah.
And so happy for you if you're watching this and you love Jamie Lee. I'm so happy that
Mm-hmm.
you have all of these movies in the catalog
Absolutely.
to go back and rewatch. I think that's great. There's a lot of movies that I don't necessarily like. We've talked about Terrifier. I feel like, hey, that's awesome that it exists for people that
Mm-hmm.
like that kind of horror. No, I'm not. I'm just not the audience for it. But
Mm-hmm.
so overrated in some of those earlier movies, H2O definitely not overrated. I feel like she really brought it for that. But what's your thought?
Now I'm going to be different. I'm going to do this as like a combined. You know what I
Okay.
mean? What I'm going to say is, I think honestly, because again, Scream Queen isn't just based on your acting ability; it's just also being in horror. And Scream Queen is also it's also a term of endearment, just because the person like Janet Leigh is a Scream Queen. Fay Ray from King Kong is a Scream Queen, but they've done less than a handful of horror movies. You know what I mean? So take it or leave it. I'm going by the use of the word queen. Queen is royalty.
Right.
If we're talking from virus notwithstanding, haven't seen it.
I think
We're
you'll like
start
it.
we're starting here, and then we're what was after Halloween? Was it Terror Train right after Halloween?
The Fog was right after, then
Okay.
Terror Train was after that,
Okay.
which I do
So
like.
we're
Yeah,
okay. So we're going Halloween. We're dipping a little bit with the Fog, but again, she's kind of swallowed by the cast. Then we're going up with Terror Train, and then we're in the fucking basement with Prom Night. So it's more lows than highs for me. I have to say, as when she's good, she's good. Road Games and H2O, God bless her. Amazing performances. I will say this. I think Jamie Lee Curtis is an overrated Scream Queen based on her filmography. In horror alone, we're not talking, like I said,
yep,
My Girl. She's great.
yeah.
True Lies. Oh, she's so fun being the awkward, dorky housewife. But in her horror filmography, I personally think overall, Jamie Lee Curtis is overrated.
And the stamp.
That's right. And then throw her in the compactor.
So we were gonna mention what we have coming up next.
Did we ever decide that? I don't remember. I'm not gonna lie.
I know we were trying to decide between one thing and the other. Uh, gateway horror.
Okay, we're gonna do gateway horror films. This is gonna be fun, in my opinion. We have a list going of what gateway horror is. In my opinion, is something that can lead you into the horror filmography. I'm not saying these are on our list. Let's just say something like The Nightmare Before Christmas, something like The Monster Squad. Something that is, I don't want to say family oriented, but you know what I mean? For
Right.
younger audiences, some of those creepy fucking Disney films from the 80s, Watcher in the Woods, stuff like that, that can lead young viewers into becoming horror fans
Yeah.
as they get older. And that's going
Yeah.
to be fun because we have our own
So,
lists. I
mhm.
do know that there is one in particular, one that we do not agree on, which will be fun. But yeah, it looks like we're doing gateway horror.
Yeah, and that'll be in 2 weeks. So And actually, so today being Saturday, just keep in mind that going forward, it'll be on a Friday.
Hmm.
So late night, Friday, 9:15 p.m. Central Standard Time. So 10:15 for my Eastern Standard Time friends on here.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think this is gonna be kind of fun. And we'll still have our every now and then we may get together and just drop like a short or something like
Yeah.
that. But as far as the lives, yeah, I think this could be really fun.
Well, look at this. You 2.5 hours, Barb, and you didn't have to edit a single damn
I
thing. Doesn't
know.
that feel nice? Doesn't that
Yes,
feel
it
nice? The
does.
tech stuff notwithstanding, doesn't that feel nice? You didn't have to
It
edit a damn
does.
thing.
Yeah. And it was a lot of fun having the chat
It
involved.
was. It was. I want to appreciate everybody in the chat. You know, whether you're here now, coming back for the replay. This was fun, seeing a lot of different opinions, but I appreciate you all being civil. And that
Right.
is what is, this is again, me soapbox. This is what is needed nowadays with the way the world is, especially online when someone could just be a jerk for the sake of being a jerk. I appreciate the fact you guys were all, whether you like Jamie Lee Curtis, whether you dislike her, whether you don't agree with our opinions now, that you stayed civil. And
Yes.
that's what's needed. So I do appreciate you guys for showing up, but I also appreciate appreciate you guys for being fucking adults. So thank you for that.
Yeah. So
Good
anyway,
time.
everyone have a wonderful Saturday. We shall see you in 2 more weeks.
Oh boy.
And
I'll be doing this till I'm 90.
and one more thing I wanted to mention is when this stream ends, since you since we were just talking about underrated and overrated, if you have an underrated actor or actress in mind that you maybe want us to add to our list, feel free to comment that,
Yeah.
on the stream after we're done.
Yeah, please, if you're in this chat right now, Gina is the queen of doing this. She'll watch a live stream and then she will drop a comment following that. If you're in the live stream, please just go back after it uploads and just drop a comment because it helps what Alex called, my friend Alex, he calls the Google spiders. It helps share out
Yeah.
the content. Patrick is also, and Russell is also very good at doing that. We appreciate that. So
Yeah.
just
Thank
drop
you
a
all for
comment.
that.
Yeah. If you're here now, it only takes you 30 seconds. Help Barb on this live stream journey. You know what I mean? If she's stuck with me, she needs all the help she can get.
Yes. And on that note, I will release everyone back into the world.
Yep.
2.5 hours, you bunch of
Good.
scoopers.
Hey, like I said, I'm okay. I had a Mountain Dew and 2 cups of pudding. I'm set.
There you go. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Cheers.